Fire. Yeah. So yeah, they used the Brits and the Canadians. And Normandy was the first big like use of the Mark III. And that it was cool because the Mark III was interchangeable. The liner was interchangeable with the Mark II, so they had them take their liners out of their Mark IIs and just screw them into the Mark IIIs.
Okay,
that's right. And the Mark III was meant to be like an improvement, like 66% horizontally and like 40% vertically in protection from the Brody. And it was designed by a doctor, actually. It's probably the guy you want designing a helmet.
Right?
Yeah, it was designed by a series of doctors, and it was given on Lend-Lease to the Canadians during World War II, so they had to turn them all back in after World War II. And the British continued to use them. They basically standardized on them, but it's not uncommon to see British and Canadian soldiers all the way through World War II wearing the turtle helmet.
And Korea.
Well, not in Korea. Canadians didn't have them in Korea.
Only no, but like the Brits did, but they also wore the Mark II as well. So it's like
they did. Their frontline troops would get the Mark IIIs and the Mark IVs, and this is a Mark V with the sock liner.
Yeah.
And the only difference between a Mark III and a Mark IV is the Mark III, the liner screws in, and in the Mark IV, it's a lift the dot stud.
Yep.
So it was easy to take out, so you could use it as a bucket, like an M1. So you could use it like a bucket.
And also, if the liner got all fucked up, you could just replace it.
It was easy to take out in the field. You could just get a new one and pop it in.
What's that thing stuffed in the netting? I saw that.
A bandage.
That's a bandage. That's how the Canadians would carry their field dressing. You would have one in your pants. So your pants had a dressing pocket on the right thigh, and on the left thigh would be your mat pocket and stuff. And then you would normally keep a quick use bandage underneath your helmet net on your helmet. So, but they would all the Canadians and all of the British soldiers on D-Day would get turtle helmets and assault vests rather than their webbing because it would be easier to take off if you fell in the water. And they all got SMLEs too because they didn't get number 4s. Now the reasoning behind that was because supposedly the SMLE was more accurate at longer distances because of its sights rather than the number 4. Yeah. So all the Canadians, the only way you could tell a Canadian and a British soldier apart on D-Day was the color of the battle dress. The Canadians is obviously green, and the British is very brown.
I have a question. So now this is getting because like I'm very much a novice when it comes to like the British like Commonwealth stuff, like that you're really into, and I'm I like stuff about D-Day, obviously. So you said that these guys they would have assault vests. Is that true?
Yes.
Okay. Is that like reddish brown type thing or what?
Yes, it was a dark brown canvas. It was dark brown canvas, and it would have all your pouches on it. It was basically the pattern 37 webbing, just sewn to a vest. Because they felt like if you got off the boat in too deep of water off the landing craft, you could get tangled up in your webbing. Because if you've ever seen a British or Canadian set of webbing, it is literally just a mess of straps.
Right. Okay.
And so you could get hung up on it really easily, especially if you're wearing a bandolier over it and other stuff that was standard.
Okay.
You could easily drown before you could get your equipment up.
Okay, yeah, because I've seen that vest, but I didn't know that was an assault vest. Basically,
they made it just for D-Day, and you could see them all the way through the end of the war. But they obviously weren't as durable as the Pattern 37 web equipment. So as they fell apart, they'd be replaced with Pattern 37 web equipment. But yeah, it was just a D-Day thing, and a lot of soldiers dropped it and changed it.
Yeah, because it was also very hot to wear because it was a vest.
Very warm. Didn't breathe as well, and it pinned a lot of the wool. So wool's good if you have breathability with it.
Yep.
But like it cinched a lot of the wool really close to your body, which created a bit of an overheating problem, and it didn't allow your uniform to dry as quickly.
Well, see, this is interesting because I know because the Americans had the same thing for D-Day. They had their own assault vest.
They were no. Those were British made.
Okay, they were British made, but it's separate from the British one. Right.
Yep, right. And the Canadians had their own model, but they only used them in training, and they all got British models when the invasion actually happened.
Okay, interesting. Yep. Yeah, because I know very much. I should have prefaced that because I know it was actually a British design, but the Americans had that vest that I guess it wasn't very good either. So they quickly got rid of that before.
Once the invasion was over, a lot of people dropped them.
Right.
So,
well, like Hal
90% dropped.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you read Hal Baumgarten's memoir, he was in the 29th Infantry Division. One of his friends told him not to wear it. He said, "Don't even wear that."
Well, it worked better for getting it off because it was 2 toggles. The British one was it was either 2 or 3 little wood toggles in a loop to undo, and then all your equipment came off.
Right.
So if you fell in the water, it was the best way to possibly save your life.
And from what I understand too, with the Americans, why a lot of them chose not to wear it is because they said, well, it doesn't hold as much as the 28 gear does with your cartridge or your belt and everything, and it's also nobody trained with it, so it was just the Americans were not used to the big pocket style pouches like the British were.
The British
they got them. They got them. Yeah, they got them on their way to the beaches.
At least the British and Canadians had a week to train with them before they left. So
the Americans just got them, and it was well, okay, I guess we'll.
I'd rather probably have the web gear in that instance than
because a lot of the Americans that I've read things where they said that they never trained with them and they weren't familiar with them. They didn't want to have a new piece of equipment that they weren't familiar with when they were hitting the fucking beaches.
Yeah.
Rightfully so.
So a Bull Moose commented, "Did Tom Hanks wear that?" Yes, he did wear that thing in Saving Private Ryan.
They should have asked the Marines that were there. They know all about amphibious stuff.
There were actually a lot of Marines there. Yeah, people don't know that.
No, there were a lot of advisors because they're like, we do this shit all the time.
Yeah.
Literally. Yeah. And and then it was funny because what the hell happened to those guys after they landed? Did they just send them? Where did they go?
They went back. They
the Pacific.
Yeah. Well, the Pacific. I've looked up some people a lot of the coxswains and such like that. They had actually worked in the Pacific. Ones who weren't new. They had actually worked in the Pacific before D-Day, and they actually went back to the Pacific.
Okay, that's interesting.
So they came for just the invasion and then left.
Yeah. Well, one really interesting thing is the 7th Naval Battalion was formed for D-Day, and their job was to clear obstacles and such on. They're the ones who got the red stripe on their helmet, and they were completely formed for D-Day, and then they were disbanded right after D-Day.
Huh.
Yeah.
So if I find an M1 helmet with a red stripe on it, it's worth a lot.
It is, yeah.
It's probably fake too, but hey.
Probably, yeah.
You guys know more about M1s than I do, so I mean, you guys know more.
Well,
about
I mean,
it's.
Well, yeah. Most of the shit's gonna be fake. All the really were, there were only a couple thousand people. Even the 101st helmets, most of those that you find for sale are gonna be fake. Because I mean, there's been 80, 70 years of guys that got the real ones. And they're either going to be at a private collection or a museum.
Yeah, or a VFW post for some reason.
How you tell a fake one of those? Usually, the real ones, they not only have a red stripe on the side, but they also have a red 7 in the center, and then they have the lower half of the helmet is a very it's kind of hard to notice. It's a gray color because it's navy.
Yeah, so they repainted them for that specific.
Right. Okay. So if you ever see one of those where it's just the red stripe with the 7, it's fake.
Because I've seen a lot of the gray ones, and I'm like, those are navy ones. So
right, but this one it was half OD green on top, and the lower half was gray.
Right, because they just probably did a really quick paint job on there, and because the Navy wore gray helmets, and that's widely known, and because they were Navy helmets, they didn't have at that point they were issuing so much gear out. The Army was. They were issuing so much gear they couldn't spare it, and so it's like, well, you already got your helmets. Anything you already have, well, let's just paint it OD green because it's you're going to be on land for a little bit, and so
a lot of the Navy issued M1917 helmets into the 70s.
Yeah, I mean,
on ships, literally, yeah.
Yeah, but when the fuck they're still issued Pasgets,
Fair, and then they made that the Mark 7. I have their first actual ballistic helmet, the Navy Mark 7, and it's a one size fits all helmet, and it's gigantic. It's
the talker helmet that they call it, right?
No, it's a ship to shore or ship to ship combat helmet that you're supposed to get before you go to your gun, and it's a one size fits all. It has a little dial in the back to constrict the band around it.
I don't think I've seen that because I was thinking of the Talker helmet.
Rare. They only made 20,000 of them. They only made 20,000 of them, and they were only on battleships. They only issued them to battleships and destroyers. So
what's it called again? I'm looking it up.
The Navy Mark 7 helmet, just like the British one, but like it's big and it's like weird and gray green colored.
Oh, I see it. Yeah,
I have a whole video.
It looks kind of like a modern Kevlar.
Yeah, but it's from the 90s. They're all from the 90s.
There's a thumbnail popped up of Mike's face with a British Mark 7 helmet on.
Oh yeah. Dude, that is a great fucking helmet, by the way.
The British Mark 7's fantastic.
Yeah, it's.
I was like, I'm talking to this fucker right now.
Mark 7, not as much. It's pretty bad.
Right. Yeah, because it's massive and.
It's huge because it has to fit people that fit into an extra large. So.
Right. And yeah, so most people in the Navy, if they got to wear that, it's like, well, that's really cumbersome. And if you're doing ship to ship or ship to land combat, you need a helmet where you can move in. And it's not going to be cumbersome. They used to have them
right by all the doors that were on the inside of the bulkhead. There was a big stack of them, and you would have like a channel cut out of this kind of tubing stack. It would have like 10 of them, and you would just grab one and lift it off the top and put it on your head and go out of the bulkhead,
Yep.
And get to your gun.
Yep. And that's the thing too, is like because it was like the same concept of like the warfare in the Second World War when even in Korea, when there was a lot of like airplane attacks on ships, it's like, well, you have to have a helmet on. And like, because I've been on the USS North Carolina in Wilmington, North Carolina, which is a great fucking battleship / museum. It's really cool. There's still so many fucking bullet holes in that ship, and then all the plates of the anti-aircraft guns, and like just you can see, it's like, okay, that's a bullet hole, like that probably nuked someone, you know, like that you could tell by. But yeah, they said that where the helmets would be is like you said, right when you're about to go out, you've got your life vest, and then you've got your helmet. And you grab that, and then you go to your gun and start manning it. A lot of the Bofors, the 40 millimeter twin Bofors.
Yep.
You know, it's like, well, it's right outside of a door.
Yep.
And so, like,
and you need it for safety, and like, if one of those bullets hits that bulkhead, it's gonna spall. And...
Right. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So.
Yep. And yeah, it's you should.
They're kind of weird.
If you guys ever get the chance, if you ever get the chance, you guys should go check that ship out. It's that was in the South Pacific too, in World War II, and it's, I think, one of the, if not the most decorated battleship of the Second World War, at least in the South Pacific. It's got, I mean, that thing, again, there's still fucking, and you can tell like some of the places that were there was bullet holes that were like welded shut, but you can still see like it's
went over them crudely.
Yeah, and it's like they painted over them and shit. It's like. And a lot of sailors died on that ship when they were being attacked a lot of times with the airplanes and stuff. But there's so many guns on there, but it's also a fucking huge piece of steel.
It's that thing is city. Like it's
oh my god,
1,000+ people. You know,
right?
Right.
Yeah, and it's insane. But yeah, the Navy never gets credit for like their combat service during the Second World War or any time, really.
Sure. The Marines swam between all the islands.
Right. And it's like, yeah, well, that's the thing is when the Marines were conducting landings, A, the Navy brought them there. B, the Navy was providing direct support.
Yeah.
And they were getting hit hard by Japanese aircraft and artillery. I mean, they were getting hit very hard. And all these sailors were like, gosh,
Japanese expected to get hit by those like fucking 18-inch guns, though, when they're building those island fortresses. So... There's a couple times the Americans like, well, you know, F this island, we're just going to sink it because our guns are big enough to do that. Like, the highest point of the island's 5 feet above sea level. I mean,
well, I don't know the Japanese naval warfare doctrine, but did they? I mean, if you don't know this, I get it, but like, did they use that whole tactic of like, well, if we're going to be hitting an island, we're going to hit it with the big fucking naval guns?
I'm not sure.
Well, a lot of Japanese defenses were because they couldn't ship tons of concrete and stuff. They were just
Sure.
like earthworks and spider holes. And
Oh yeah,
trees.
yeah. It was wood and
like-
mud and yeah.
I know that
18-inch
very well.
ship gun crashes into that. I mean, the island just erupts. You know, like
Yeah.
You're done.
that's why
Usually-
they got so good with caves and shit like that because all those Pacific
I was
islands
about to say,
are volcanic and they're full of caves.
Yeah.
So.
Usually what they would do is just they'd go into a cave and they'd like sometimes they wouldn't even have to do this, but like knock a hole kind of in it, and that would be their embouchure. But that would be it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I
That'd be a
mean,
bunker.
it's all you can do, really. Like, I mean, so like, I have a picture. I have to find it. I mean, I can't find it right now, but like, I have a picture from when I was on the USS North Carolina with the 18-inch guns, and that round is as tall as me and about as wide.
They're like 1,000 pounds. So.
And it's like, and then so the powder, like they have this, like you could see on that ship, like I went into the turret, right? So I saw how it was loaded with the elevator that would mechanically bring the powder charges and the projectiles up to the turret into the guns and whatever. And it's like we're talking about hundreds of pounds of powder.
Yep.
You know, for one shot.
Explode when somebody hits them in the right spot. So.
Right, well, they hit the magazine where all that shit's stored, and you're done. I mean, it's literally
that's happened
thousands of tons of powder. Yeah, right, yeah, and it's like those rounds. Like, I tell you, I'm scared of a hand grenade, right? Because it's so much power.
And then you see that thing, and it's like, fuck that, f that. So
it's like it's like there's no fucking way. Like, if one of those lands near you.
Yeah,
have you seen the footage of the HMS Barham exploding?
Yes, where it looks like a nuke going off.
Yeah, it's oh my god! I'm like, you can see guys because it's like tipping over, it's like capsizing. You can see guys on the side of it, like jumping into the water. When can you imagine being near that thing when that happens? Just
it goes off. Well, you feel it on the ship, 200 yards away. You know, like.
Well, yeah, that it looks, and it's got the actual like the vapor. I don't know what the hell it's called, but like when it has like the vapor going up into the atmosphere, kind of like that ring.
Shockwave, yeah. The shockwave.
But it's with the ring because it went up so far too, and that's not nuclear. That's just straight up conventional ammunition going off, and it was like, holy fuck, man.
Yeah, well, it uses
that thing in Canada. I forget what the name of the ship was, but there was a ship in Halifax, Nova Scotia. That was literally just full of powder, cargo container, like full of explosives and powder in the early World War I going to France. And a Swedish ship crashed into it in the harbor on accident and it flattened Halifax.
Oh,
like
shit.
The shockwave flattened Halifax. It was the largest man-made explosion until World War II.
Jesus, dude. Okay, so a bull moose here asks a question. I know you were talking about the Marines on D-Day. Does that mean that the Beachmasters were Marines? No, that was the 6th Navy Beach Battalion who were the Beachmasters. Yeah.
Who were from the South Pacific though? Correct.
Yep. Yep.
Yes. Because they had to pull a lot of shit off to get those guys there and advise them. And that's, in my opinion, this isn't a fact. In my opinion, I think that's why the landings actually succeeded. Is because they had been doing that for 2.5 years at that point already, like very well. And I don't think if those guys, I think if those guys would not have been there, I don't know if Normandy landings would have actually been a success on the first time. I'm sure they would have tried again, whatever. But like but all the intricate details of them going in and doing, and also the frogmen were present on D-Day. And like the night before, and like they went in there and they were like
weeks ahead of time and breaking things
up,
and
they just swim in there in their underwear, basically, do recon, be like, okay, here's the obstacles we've got. The one thing they fucked up on was they didn't understand the tide was going to be that far out that day.
Yeah, because it goes back and forth, the high tide and low tide, and yet when they landed, it was as low as you could get it.
and I don't know who fucked that up or if they could predict that, but like it was so low that day. It was like
it
would only be bad if the Germans had machine guns.
Well, by noon the tide had risen a bit, but like actually it's probably good because They did that on purpose because at that point, at low tide, it exposed all of those obstacles. If those
sure,
been submerged,
but you got another several hundred yards to run and get through, and then also
but is it worse than one of those freaking Higgins boats getting caught up on a tank trap, and then it's just a sitting duck in 8 feet of goddamn water,
or like a coral reef in the South Pacific where they get caught up on the reefs.
Oh,
and they're like,
and the Japanese would just shell the shit out of them because they knew that was there. Yeah.
Right. And they're like, okay, all these guys now have to swim to shore. So yeah, I mean, it was good, it was bad, but it was like, I know that was something that they actually weren't counting on. They were like, we didn't think it was going to be that far out that particular day. I've read some, again, this is, don't ask me my sources because I don't fucking remember, but like things I read over the years that are consistent are like, we didn't realize that it was going to be that low. Like we like Michael said, they did want to have it at low tide, which is why they went in the morning, because they could see all the obstacles that the frogmen had been reporting back. Hey, there's a shitload of underwater stuff. There's teller mines on posts. There's, these things that'll cut the shit out of the Higgins boats and kill your guys before they even get out of the boat. But they were so far out.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, well, shit.
I have you can go look at it today, but obviously, like I have some reconnaissance photos, very rare, from May of 44 that show the beach at low tide. And yeah, it is, I mean, because most people, again, they only know Omaha from, Saving Private Ryan, stuff like that. But like that beach was long,
Yeah. Right.
It was a long way.
Let's run, 200 fucking yards while we're wet and cold.
400.
Right. Yep. But I'm saying at the best case scenario, 200 yards, let's run 200 yards, full kit, all that shit, or your feet are wet. It's sand. Okay. Let's run 200 yards, best case scenario in some spots, towards a shitload of positions that we can't see because they're all concealed. B, every fucking inch of that beach was zeroed by a mortar or a fucking artillery piece or a direct fire like anti-tank cannon. Let's just run 200 yards and see how we fare. I mean, Jesus.
That's why a lot of them that's why a lot of them the advance obviously on, like, okay, if we're talking about Omaha, because that's the one I know the most about. Yeah. Like Omaha, a lot of them stayed in the water because they're actually very safe there. A lot of people don't know that. People think that that's like the worst place to be. That's actually very safe to be in the water.
Because that wasn't zeroed correctly.
The Germans knew that nothing was zeroed for the water, so
exactly. It wasn't zero. The whole beach actually was. There's maps where you can see where the Germans had specific firing parts. And they named them after women, which is interesting. But but the water, it's safe because it's really far away, and when the bullets and stuff hit the water, they lose their momentum.
Well, they Mythbusters do that, and that's the other thing that. I'm not going to spoil anything, but for Saving Private Ryan, when I was a kid, I even knew that was bullshit because I'm like, I know how bullets work when I shoot water. They just break apart or they just stop. In the first inch or two, and it's like right, and it's like, well, so that's a really good point, and the guy's staying in the water, but it's like, what do you do? And then now all of your shit's wet, so then when you have to move, well, you weigh a halftime more than you would normally, and again, you've got 200 to 400 yards.
Only half the people knew how to swim.
Right. Yeah, that's another thing too. Is like,
well, dude, I mean, that equipment is so heavy. I mean, you're gonna sink. So it's
even if you do know how to swim, I mean, there's still a good chance you're going to drown. Yeah.
Yeah. So you gotta be. Like a lot of guys said that they would try to, when they got towards. So their foot would touch the sand, and then they stop right there, and they just have their head above the water.
Right, so they can just sit there. Yep.
And then they were like, "Well, I can't just do this all day." But some of them did. Some of them sat there until the beach was
12 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're in that situation and you're like, if I go forward, I'm going to get fucking killed. Like, I know this. Like,
I'm not moving.
And it was just so many.
I'd rather be in Italy. F that.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
at least there's like pasta and wine and Italian.
Big hills to climb up every fucking day.
Yeah, but there's Italians and there's cheese and.
There's cheese and wine in France too. It's really good, and it was a lot closer.
There wasn't wasn't any stuff in France except for a bunch of dead bodies hitting you under the water.
Well, okay, fair. Yeah, that's no that would have, and I know on some beaches like Utah, it was. I mean, I've actually talked to guys that were on Utah.
Yeah.
And they were like, yeah, we got some artillery rounds and some machine guns, but it wasn't like that bad.
Oh no, yeah, it was. He was really, really not bad. I mean, I don't want to downplay any kind of.
No. But like they told me that it was like
got F the hardest, and that's why it was the biggest beach, and that's why the Americans took it. Like when they were planning it out, the Americans volunteered to take Utah and Omaha. Those were expected to be the worst beaches. So.
Yep.
Right, and then Golden Sword and Juneau.
They
basically. But seriously, like they compared to Omaha, they basically Juneau was like the Americans' Utah. It was it was like, okay, there's resistance, guys are getting hit and whatever, and we need to get the fuck off the beach.
Yeah, that was Canada's beach, and it was the smallest one.
Yeah, I know, and that was so the Canadians actually they took a bit of a beating, and then they went forward like in true Canadian style, like they went forward and they were like, yeah, we're done here, like let's fucking just end this.
That
and
really
same with Utah.
That was 3rd Division, which is the smallest division in Canada. It came from the rural western part, and that was something that the Canadian Census Bureau didn't think that Western Canada recovered from until the 90s, as far as population.
Yeah, because they lost a lot of guys on Juneau, and
they lost a lot of very healthy young men on that beach because the 3rd Division is literally basically everywhere west of Ontario is 3rd Division until you get to Vancouver. So British Columbia is like its own thing, but like all of the territories and then Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta are all 3rd Division. So.
Yeah, and then Golden Sword, the Brits and the Free French and the Polish guys, some of them, they met resistance, but they basically said, okay, we're gonna get the fuck off the beach. Then they started hitting really hard resistance, but they got off the beach. Like they were able to get up there really quick and just kind of run across the beach and get up there. And so it's like if you look at all Normandy, like the actual beach landings, man, if the Brits had just been like, let's take a tea break, it would have probably been different. But they were
there to hit all the supplies that were being stockpiled at Con. So
right, exactly. And so then they did that, and then they were able to get the fuck up there. They kicked ass. Then they started really, they got worked over on the road to Con and then to Con. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that was the plan for each one. Like each beach, they were, because before the landings, the Air Corps bombed the whole coast, even though they fucking missed everything. And then
yep.
God damn it, Air Force.
Yeah, and then the Navy was supposed to bomb the coast, and they also missed everything. Not everything.
Right. What the fuck was up with like?
It was the weather.
Also weather, and it's very hard to see the targets. It really is.
Yeah, my point is
why you have 18-inch 1,000-pound shells.
Yeah, my point is that each beach, that was the idea, was that you'd run across the sand, and then the fighting would happen in land. That was supposed to be how it was always going to be, even especially with Omaha and stuff. And the thing is, it's funny with like when people think of D-Day beaches and such. Obviously, Omaha is the most notorious one, and they think of those big cliffs, the escarpment. They although Omaha really was the only Omaha and Point du Hoc, which kind of go hand in hand.
The Rangers
are the only place where that's like a thing.
Right. Yeah.
My God.
That was the only real parts of the landing beaches that were like that. Like Utah Beach is extremely flat. If you ever see it.
It's open and it's flat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Mike.
I think wasn't Juneau a little bit more? Well, no, it wasn't. Didn't have the cliffs around it, right?
Juneau was cliffs, but not as bad as
Omaha.
Right. Yeah, not nearly.
Omaha was the farthest east or west, right?
Yeah.
I'm looking at it from upstairs.
No. Sorry, Utah is the farthest.
West.
Then it's Omaha, and then it's Sword, and then Juneau.
Oh yeah,
and then
I forget. I'll be right back, but let's talk about Point du Hoc when we get back.
Okay, cool.
When I get back, because that is something that really very few people even think about happened, and that was
I played Call of Duty. It's fine.
No, but like if you want to talk about some fucking balls, on June 6, 1944.
Yep.
Holy shit!
Well,
So
I'm all for it.
Yep. All right, I'll be back.
While Mike is taking sabbatical, one thing, not too many people know this, but out of all the beaches, and you listed them off correct, but the farthest one, there was actually a sector far east that was called Tear Beach, and that was going to be, if anything failed, they were going to land there.
That was like, well, we're losing too much. Shift over.
Shift over here, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But some revisionists like to take that and be like, there was another beach that no one knows about. It's like, no, nothing actually landed there.
Because you underestimate the Americans' ability to throw people into machine guns.
Right, yeah. but it's just funny because I've seen it online where people take the whole thing of Terror Beach and be like, that's, there's another beach nobody knows about. It's like, no one landed there. It was just planned.
It was a backup.
Right, it was a backup. So shut the fuck up.
You got to have it though, because Americans they're you know what? It has to be really bad if the Americans are like, we're losing too many people.
Yeah.
Americans don't do that. Americans don't go, we're losing too many people.
So right.
Send more guys till we win.
That's what they did.
And it worked. And it worked. Credit to American, all-knowing strategy. It works.
Hey man. I like to mention the whole picture because people will go on and on about that. How like, oh, the brave Americans on that beach. Of course, obviously, that's correct. However,
for sure, like the Americans volunteered to take the worst beach. They did. So I get that. Yeah.
Right, but like the thing that I think is really needs to be mentioned too is that those Germans were extremely outmatched. They were very outnumbered, and the fact that they held
to come at Calais.
Right. Yeah. So the fact that the Germans held out as long as they did is also bravery, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Props to them. I tell people that, and everyone's like, "You Nazi," and I'm like, "No."
Right. Yeah.
No.
Well, also, people usually they depict the German defenses as being way overpowered and all that stuff. It's like they were actually they had a lot of limited resources on those beaches. It was not.
Sure. You got to pay some credit where credit is due. Yes, they had a lot of defenses that have been built up for so long, but like.
Yeah, but some of them were still under construction on D-Day.
Yeah. So
it was not like. Sorry, Mike. I was just talking about how people love to play up like the Germans being, way overpowered on D-Day when actually they were way outnumbered.
Well, here's the thing, though. We measure overpoweredness in number of MG42s. So.
Well, they didn't even have a lot.
42s did the Americans have?
They didn't have a lot of. They didn't even have a lot of MG42s at Omaha. They had mostly MG34s and Polish. Browning copied machine guns and such.
And how many more is that than the Americans had?
It's a bit more.
Yeah, see, that's how we measure overpoweredness. So.
No, that's why they had to mobilize 2 or 3 SS Panzer divisions and a shitload of Army regular infantry and Panzer divisions to Normandy because they're like, well, they're never going to hit them here.
For sure. Well, and also, most of the Germans were at Calais, and the Allied forces still had to mobilize 3 fucking countries.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Worth of people for this relatively weak defended section.
Yeah, those big German defense nests that you see, like Battery, Tolt, and stuff like that. That was all around Calais. That never got used.
Yep. That got hit from behind.
Yeah. So a lot of people like, the Germans have these massive guns pointed out. It's like, no, they didn't really.
Well, let's just use common sense. You're placing these bunkers that are extremely big, extremely visible, and they have a couple machine guns in them. What the fuck good does that do for a defensive thing on a beach? Like,
are you talking about Calais or what?
No, like the big bunkers we're talking about. I forgot the name of them. You keep telling me, and I keep forgetting. The big bunkers that in Saving Private Ryan. It's like, why would they put those?
They wouldn't.
It's like they're their observation, because like the same style but smaller was using like the Hurtgen Forest and that kind of stuff. Like they had them on the Siegfried line a lot for observation bunkers.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No. Exactly. But talking about the Atlantic Wall and stuff. Yeah, like what's usually like the stereotypical depiction of those giant things. It's like, yeah, like the one, they wouldn't be that prominent, but one they were not in Normandy. Those were, again, most of those were around Calais, and two, they wouldn't be nearly that prominent. They would be way more built into the escarpment and they would also be extremely camouflaged. They have nets and stuff over them,
and not as common as everyone seems to think, because basically you have one officer in there who's got a pair of binoculars.
Yeah, they're not big. I mean, like, they're not really that huge. Well, especially like the German defenses, the bunkers and stuff along Omaha, like a standard machine gun, a Feldmaschig, would be very small. Like only 2 people could fit in them. So
that's all you need. That's a lot of concrete. Concrete takes a lot to make.
Right. They're not meant to be seen. Yeah, they're not meant to be seen.
Right.
They're camouflaged. So.
Yep, and
people realize how long concrete takes to cure, especially in a really wet environment like that.
Well, did you see Michael's latest drawing on Facebook, Devin?
I did.
So that's actually a pretty cool thing, because it shows they got a Pac 43 camouflaged within some concrete, but like using a pre-existing kind of shitty, dilapidated building.
For sure.
Right. Here, I have it right here.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, that's convenient. Yeah, this is my latest drawing.
Your hand cramp from thinking of drawing all those sandbags.
My hands hurt while I'm drawing it, so. But look at the bricks were like the real bitch. But the thing is that this is a reconstruction drawing basically of the R667 or R677, excuse me, at Omaha Beach. Still there today, has a monument on top of it. Talking about concrete and such, though. I mean, I could just show you actual photographs, but like if you look on this, because I just pictured it, try and get out like the actual concrete parts of the wall.
Yeah.
They didn't actually use a lot of concrete. What they used were giant bricks, and then they coated them in concrete. So a lot of those bunkers actually along those giant ones, they're not made of solid concrete. They're made of bricks. And then they're
made of like recycled buildings and stuff. Yeah.
Right. They use concrete to smooth over them to basically reinforce it. It has rebar inside it. But yeah, a lot of people think with those bunkers that they're all these big masses of concrete. It's not true. They're actually bricks.
Fair. Well, I mean, a lot of Japanese bunkers in the Pacific had wood in the middle. So.
Yeah. Well, some of the German ones had wood too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how many resources. So take one of those bunkers from Saving Private Ryan. Do you know how much time, how much money, how much resources, and how much labor that would take?
Yeah, a lot.
Make one of those.
Yeah, you got to make it a lot further into Russia to get the resources for that shit.
Yeah, and they're already depleted of resources.
Right. It's like, yeah, and So we'll forego a point to Hawk because there's some people in the chat talking about they want the Italian campaign to be. Yeah.
The soft underbelly of Europe,
and obviously we agree because this first film that we're going to be making takes place in the Winter Line in Italy after the Salerno landings in 1943 November, and we also agree that like North Africa, Sicily, Italy, even southern France, I've never seen a film besides To Hell and Back. Besides that, because it's like a part of it though. It says they're in southern France. I've never seen a film at all that displays the combat in southern France. And I had two. My.
Go ahead, Mike.
Go ahead. No, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say that not ones that are done well.
No, I've seen.
I've never seen one
where they talk about the partisans in southern France, but not.
I've seen some that are in Italy, like a Miracle at St. Anna took place in Italy, but that movie sucked flappy donkey dick, so I wouldn't recommend it.
No. I'm talking southern France.
Oh, sorry, southern France. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like I've never
the partisans, but that's it. Because and
it's
Germans never fully occupied southeastern France. So
what are you gonna say?
They did because my grandfather and my great uncle, his brother, landed on the same day, and my great uncle, who's in the 3rd Infantry Division, oddly enough, he met fierce resistance on the beach in southern France. And my grandfather just drove his truck ashore, and there was nothing until they got inland.
Yep.
And so it's like it was really weird. And then in southern France, there was a shitload because then all the guys or a bunch of guys from Italy went over to southern France. A bunch of the Germans and some of the Italians, and it was like they were trying to move guys around, and then it was like insane. And then they were like, well, they're very close to Germany right now. Like, we have to put more guys down there. Oh, well, Normandy's it happened in like within the same week or two, right? The southern France landings and the Normandy landings?
A month apart. I think 2 months apart. It was in August.
In August, yeah. I know it was very close, though. Anyway, we were like, the Germans were like, fuck, France is like screwed at this point. Like, we're getting hit from the south and the north heavily. And so they started getting desperate at that point. And so what the fuck? Oh, I think he must have hit something.
Wow. Well, hey, at least both sides could rely on Switzerland to shoot anybody that crossed the border.
Well, they arrest a lot of people too. They arrest a lot of people.
But that's not as fun. Welcome back.
Do you not want to be a part of this fucking stream or something? What's going on?
I'm going through all these files because I'm getting worked up about this to show you guys things. I'm sorry, I accidentally hit exit.
Wow.
No, I mean, he doesn't want to be a part of the life.
He must really not care about the Italian campaign.
No one cares about southern France, Mike. I just couldn't take it anymore. I just wanted to talk about Normandy.
Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, Normandy, the only fucking battle that matters in the Second World War, just like Iwo Jima is the only battle that matters in the South Pacific.
Stalingrad. Come on now. The diversion.
Well, yeah, I mean,
all of the important stuff.
So, okay, really quickly, not getting too far into it, but like, okay, Stalingrad was horrible. It was horrific. Nobody seems to even know or talk about the siege of Leningrad and how fucked up that was for the Russians living there.
How it held out
and
for
the Germans
entire fucking war by itself. Yeah.
Right. And the Germans surrounding it were like, we're good. We're okay. We'll stay here for fucking ever.
And the Russians are converting tractor factories to roll out shoddy tanks, and they didn't even put all the shit in them. They're like, does it shoot? Good. Get it off the line. Get it out there.
I want to get back to what Mike was talking about though with southern France. You said that you had you had relatives that landed there. Is that true? Okay, cool. So
my grandfather and his brother. So
okay, did one of them land on Yellow Beach then?
I don't know because I only met my great uncle once, like I was telling you. I don't know if I told you that, but like I only met him once.
It was obviously sand colored. It wasn't yellow.
His story though is somewhere like he wrote down, like his daughter interviewed him a few years before he died for a school project, and it's like written down. I've got to fucking get. I can actually get in touch with her because he's the one that got.
That's a cool video.
Yeah, and like so he got wounded twice. He got a Silver Star, Bronze Star, and he was like a badass guy. He was in the 3rd Infantry Division, which
was that guy you were telling me about that like drove the truck and he's like, "Fuck it, I'm sleeping in the truck, even if they straight."
That's my grandfather. No, that's my grandfather.
Okay.
That was my grandfather. His brother is the one I'm talking about, Uncle Al, my great uncle Al. So yeah, because it was funny because they had my great grandmother, I guess, my great grandmother had 5 kids. 4 of them served in World War II, like in a combat setting. So it was funny. So my grandfather drove truck. He was in the 5th Army. My grandfather was in the 5th Army, driving caissons basically. Like he was driving artillery rounds for the artillery. I don't know what unit or whatever. I also have to do some research. And then Uncle Al was in the 3rd Infantry Division. But they went through the same theater. They went through North Africa, Sicily, Italy. Right. They met in Rome. I told you guys that story. And then southern France, and they ended up in Germany. And then my grandfather went north farther and ended up in Dachau. So he was one of the first guys to get in there because he had pictures from there.
Great place.
So Uncle Al then he must have landed on Yellow Beach because that's where they're broken into. Yeah, they're broken into kind of like how with the D-Day beaches, they're broken into these sectors. The Operation Dragoon was broken into red, yellow, green, and blue. That's the name of those were the names of the beaches. The 3rd landed on Yellow Beach. And I actually have a nice color photo of a rare German defense along the beach there. I'm sending it to both Mike and Devin right now. It's of a German Panzer II turret mounted on a they call
they put them in like bunkers. Yeah,
that's called a Panzerstellung. Yeah,
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. So I always thought it took me a long time to find it because I was trying to find German defenses along southern France because no one seems to know anything about it. And
they stole that from Austria in World War One.
You think so?
Well, yeah, because the Austrians fighting the Italians, they're like, well, we can't use our navy because France and Britain. So they took all the turrets off of them and built them into bunkers in the mountains to shell the fucking Italians with 18-inch naval deck guns.
Bizarre.
That was, the Italians weren't expecting it.
God, here, hold on. I'm going to tell somebody to get off the fucking internet really quick.
Uh-oh.
Who is that?
Oh. It's the Weasel Horse is online.
The Weasel Horse, god damn it.
It's lagging really bad.
I gotta put my helmet back on. Gotta remember
what way. Put the Brody on.
Put my Mark II Brody on.
Right.
Get the nice lean to it for versatility.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, so even looking at this gun right here, this turret, it looks like nothing, but like that's a fucking 20mm fucking rapid fire cannon.
Yeah, that fucking sucks to face that.
I don't want to get shot by that. Just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Imagine just walking along and you're just walking at night and you bang your shin on the muzzle of that fucking
boom, 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 boom. Whoops. Yeah, but yeah, Southern France is that's probably something down the road we could think about covering.
Yeah, see, there it is for the crowd.
Mm-hmm. Pretty cool, right? Tabs.
Oh, nice. Dog fucks hot chick.
Oh, God damn
nice.
you. Yeah. That's enough of that. Figured out a minute to see what the fuck you were doing.
Man swallows hot dog without chewing. Yeah. So, oh god.
Yeah, Southern France would be Dragoon would be a great topic to cover. It really would.
Yeah,
for sure. And then you could get all the French people that were there.
Mm-hmm.
They participated.
Well, yeah,
that's where they really helped, like en masse was in Southern France. The landings in Southern France are where the French really stepped up again. So.
Well, and after they landed, like my grandfather, I don't know about my uncle or great uncle, my grandfather spent several months in Nice because they were like, yeah, we're not doing anything for, we hit the landings and all that shit. So he spent like several months in Nice, and he had a lot of pictures that I saw, a lot of pictures of girls, even though he was married to my grandmother. A lot of pictures of girls riding bikes and the coast with the palm trees and then the lavender fields.
The French Riviera. I mean, like, come on now.
How can you not? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Monaco, you got all the other cool shit. Like, come on now.
And I got to find those freaking pictures because what was really weird is my grandmother, without giving the backstory and all that shit, I found my grandfather's pictures when I was like 14 years old, 15 years old. And I was like, yeah, I found these. And like, there's a bunch of pictures of like German POWs after, the surrender and everything. And Dachau wasn't a thing because that was a different story that I told Michael about, which is really fucking bizarre. But no, all the pictures of like him, like going through North Africa, Sicily, Italy, and then Southern France, and then into Germany. He had a bunch of pictures. And then the one that I remember is from Nice, where he and his I don't know, squad. I don't know how they do that in like a motor kind of unit, but like him and a bunch of his friends were sitting on like this really big stoop in a French like building, smoking cigars, and they all had bottles of wine. They probably like asked somebody that was passing by, hey, just take a picture of us, we'll give you a chocolate bar or some shit. And but it was all of them just sitting out there, just relaxed as hell, like no leggings, just sitting there in their uniforms, jackets open, whatever, just having fun. And they spent several months there. Yep. And I mean, because they had been through at that point, my grandfather, he was at Monte Cassino. So with the Fifth Army, he was there, and like he was driving that's where he stopped, or he just slept in his truck because he's like, well, fuck it. If the planes are gonna hit me at night, they're going to hit me and I won't feel it, but I'm not going to be cold, sleep on the ground.
Yeah, I'm not going to go.
And so that's where he came up with that.
Yeah. So.
Right. He's like, I'm done with this. So he slept in his truck while it was running, at night. And but he still did not like airplanes. He's like, yeah. But anyway, so they had been through Monte Cassino. It was just, I mean, these guys were just through the fucking ringer. Yeah. And then they get to Nice and they spend a few months there, and it's like, well, let's have some fun.
It's not so bad anymore. Yeah.
Right. And then they go up to Germany. They go through southern France. They fight their way through there and then go to Germany in 45. And then it's like, oh, Jesus. Like,
yep.
Yeah.
Back at it.
Some serious shit then.
All fun and games. So the French try to make you eat garlic snails.
Did you want to talk about Pointe du Hoc?
Yeah, we can do that for sure. We'll go back to
that. Or has that ship sailed for you?
Let's do it.
Nothing sailed. This is like a Joe Rogan podcast, man. Just a conversation. But
yeah, we just bounce around.
Pointe du Hoc was those guys. They trained and they trained and they trained and they trained and they trained, and they got there. It was like worse than they could have imagined.
Yeah,
like
well, a lot of
like okay.
The where they trained was Slapton Sands, which is flat as fuck, and so it was not nearly well. And then I don't know about the Rangers in terms of this, but for a lot of the guys who were training for those beach assaults, the mock-up German, the fake German defenses they mocked up for them to train on, they built them right on the sand. They didn't put them up on the cliff.
On top of the cliffs. Yeah.
Yeah. No, so it was like, what the fuck do you expect? But yeah, I know that the actual cliffs that the Rangers trained for, the fact that there were any cliffs around Slapton was very minimal compared to the real thing, which is gigantic. It's a sheer cliff.
Good thing nobody's afraid of heights.
The Germans were just throwing rocks at them. They were throwing rocks down at them because they're like, well, we're not going to waste ammo yet. And
right,
they're sitting there on these fucking. Yeah.
Go ahead, Mike.
I'm sorry. I'm lagging, of course. But
okay, go ahead.
They're going up with these ladders that are like this wide, okay, with full kit. They're trying to get up these things, and they just get rocks and shit thrown on them like medieval times, and they're taking actual like fatalities because of these rocks. And it's like these guys were falling, 50 and 60 feet down off these ladders because they get hit, and they're like shit. And then it's like, then they get to the top, and the Germans are just sitting there like, all right, this is gonna be easy.
Right.
There's no defenses
like,
right on the edge, and it's very easy to see the silhouette of someone coming up. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh God. And it's like, well, how do you keep going forward when it's like, well, when I get to the top of this, my life's over.
Yeah.
Like, how do you do
it? Germans had like the medieval cauldrons of hot pitch to like pour down the.
That's a myth.
Actually, that's a fallacy. That's a fallacy.
Yes, I was just going to say that.
Yeah. No, they would pour, and it makes sense. They pour hot water. They wouldn't use pitch.
No,
it was too expensive and too hard.
They had those big cauldrons of hot pitch.
No. Even in the medieval times and ancient times, they didn't use pitch. They used hot boiling water because pitch is really hard to extract. Oh yeah, same difference. Pitch sticks to you.
I don't know about you. I don't want any boiling anything poured on me. All right.
Well, okay. There we get to the point. The point is, it's like. Yeah, but anyway, they were just like the Germans were just throwing rocks.
Only they had a whole ocean worth of fucking water.
To boil it, grab the salt for their own like rations, so they could be, they could have nutrients. They could have salt.
Wasn't already salt water.
Right, that's what I mean. But anyway, so yeah, Pointe du Hoc was like those guys. It's like how many. The balls on those guys, like everybody's like Omaha Beach. Those guys had balls.
Famous, Mike, for a reason.
Okay.
Right. Listen, yeah. Before that, they were.
Sorry. No, it's just the Pointe du Hoc is it is pretty fucking crazy. But I mean, like it's one of those things to where and people say, how could they do that? It's like they don't have a choice, man. It is what it is.
Right. You could die down here, or you could die up there. Pick
right.
One.
Yeah.
So,
I remember hearing it from I forgot the guy's name, but I can see his face right now. One of the Rangers who landed at Pointe du Hoc, he was a lieutenant, but I forgot his name. And he said that he climbed about a little ways up, and then all of a sudden either he lost his footing or the thing gave way, and he fell and then just landed on the sand down below. And he looked up and he could see at the edge there was a German sitting up there, just like leaning on his like hand like this, just watching them like that. And he said he pulled out his rifle and tried to shoot him, and he forgot to take the safety off. Didn't shoot.
Well, we know how that goes now, don't we, Michael?
Knock the hook off with like a shovel or something, just like fuck you.
But I just thought it was funny that he looked up and the guy was just like up there, just like staring down at him, like like that.
Right. It's like you're really gonna try this, and they actually got through, which is the most amazing part. Like, I know there were Americans at the bottom sitting there like waiting, and they were like, "Hey, watch this! If they pop over, hit them." And it was what a clusterfuck that was.
Yeah,
man.
A lot of those Germans too, and they had those grapnels that they would fire up there, and a lot of those they would clank onto the the concertina wire, and they would throw them off like that. So it was it didn't really have. There was not a lot of shooting until they, like you say, Mike, until they got up to the top. Some
people got clear lines of sight. Yeah.
Right. Some movies and stuff like that will depict that they were shooting down at the. There wasn't a lot of that.
Well, you can't afford to waste.
No, because they were like, we don't want to waste.
Americans can't get up there. You don't waste the ammo. Yeah. So
you could throw rocks and shit. You could take a shit and throw it down there, and it would fuck somebody up.
Right off the edge of the cliff there, just like
right.
I saw a short film.
I
saw a short film that was depicting Pointe du Hoc, and I won't mention who made it because it was terrible. But that it was there was
weird.
they did that to where it was. But I think they actually were at Pointe du Hoc. It looked a lot like it. I don't know, but they had like their German extras like at the very edge, like with MG42s just like propped up against the rock that they were like laying down shooting, and it's just like. No, dude, sorry. That's there were no machine gun positions around those cliffs. That's way too risky.
Well, there were barely any Germans around there.
Like the amount of work
there was barely any Germans
off that cliff was enough. They thought so.
Yeah, man. Sorry.
Let me close some tabs. I'm lagging.
That's all right. I'm just being an alcohol enthusiast.
You fucking alcoholics.
I said alcohol enthusiast, and there's a distinct difference.
Whatever makes you feel good. That sounds like justification to me.
I mean, it's fair, but I mean, I drink like one day a week, so I mean, am I really an alcoholic?
You drank.
Well, I mean,
but I can't go too heavy, because I'm a workaholic more than I am an alcoholic. So I mean,
that's very true.
I have that.
I'm just trying to close some tabs and shit here, trying to fucking.
Yeah, we don't need to see your guy swallows 5 hot dogs whole in a row.
You know what? As long as I'm not hurting anybody, right. Why are you giving me shit?
Hey, I don't care what it is. That's an impressive talent to somebody. You know what I mean? I'm not bothering anybody. I'm not knocking anything. That's an impressive talent. I don't need to see it, but I'm still going to be impressed when I do. Like,
now that's impressive.
What the fuck are you talking about?
A guy that could swallow 5 hot dogs whole in like 10 seconds. You've never seen that?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. No, I don't care to. I'm not.
That's an impressive talent right there. It's a lifetime of training or one really weird accident.
That's a colon that's going to end up like mine if he keeps doing that.
I mean,
that's what that is.
That's fair.
But yeah. So no. So what was this about the short film, Michael?
Oh, it was just shitty. That was it.
Yeah.
It was
this big build up. Oh, I think he was that point. It looked just like
bad.
No, it was just funny because that's usually how I see it depicted. Again, it's again like trying to over dramatize things.
Yeah, Americans like action, Michael, action.
Yeah, it's where there's like machine guns at the top. It's like no, man, that was not happening. So,
dude, if they would have had 42s or 34s at the top of that, if they would have had machine guns at the top of Pointe du Hoc, that would have just been like they would have been dead, like fucked.
Oh yeah.
That's it. You know, it's like, that's it. They're done.
But you got to have action.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
why Jarhead was so bad.
Right.
I don't dislike Jarhead for it not showing action. I dislike it for other reasons.
Yeah, where's that other guy from Brokeback Mountain? That would have made it better.
Heath Ledger?
Heath Ledger should have. Jesus Christ.
Heath Ledger should have been. Heath Ledger was in The Patriot. That was his war movie.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, even John Krasinski. Right?
John
yeah,
Krasinski,
it wasn't good.
yeah.
But like, yeah, he was in there as the nerd that gave him the fucking booze in Jarhead.
Yep.
Is he the guy with the glasses?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I remember that guy. But well, maybe talking about war movies and stuff, maybe we should mention our plans for war movies.
Yeah, so the Whinery, since that's the title of this
yes,
cast.
we're coming out with our own label. It's going to be $174.99 a bottle.
All right, Coppola.
And it's made in Mike's bathtub.
Right. So what I did is I listen to Gary V a lot. And he's like, just hustle, just go for it. So I decided that we should just go for it. And you guys don't know who Gary V is. That's great. Somebody in the comments might. That's fantastic. But you guys totally fucking lost it. Yeah. Who?
Explain it.
And no. So what we're gonna do is you guys have been just look up Gary V on fucking Google. It's not that hard. And so the Whinery is gonna be the three clowns you see right now.
Right there. Slimy American.
Right. Well, we'll see because it's going to be just us clowns sitting there reviewing war movies, and it's going to be a Patreon only thing. That's the thing is it's going to be exclusive to Patreon, so we can just go through and say whatever the fuck we want about. We'll also give
in like half-hour intervals to like make it bearable. Like,
no, it's not going to be that bad because like most of the scenes in like war movies are like you just kind of watch it. You're like, okay. Silent. Oh, Jesus Christ. They wouldn't do that. What the fuck are they thinking? Yeah. So it's like, we've got time. So a 2-hour film will probably be like a 4-hour video, realistically.
It'll be longer than that.
Because
I'm going to need some wine for that.
Okay. Well, we'll get you that. But so it's going to be the Whinery, like wine, like WHINE instead of, wine. But it's like, we're just going to sit there and review war movies, honestly. We'll also, if they do something right and they get something cool, we'll also acknowledge that. It's not going to be a total just shitting on a movie thing.
Yeah.
Correct. And but it'll be fun because, Michael, Devin, and I will be sitting up in the guest bed, which we rearranged, Devin, you like this. And we'll be sitting in a bed like the old people on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And we'll be sitting there reviewing this movie, giving honest things, because Michael's got different aspects to what he sees in a film versus me versus Devin.
Yeah,
sure.
And we can all like, if we'll just go at a certain right, and it's like just it'll be cool. But it's
drop your suggestions.
Yes, for films, we've got a couple in the works. Drop your suggestions in the comments. And Michael, you'll be in charge of the list. How about that?
Okay, I can do that.
Yep. So we've got a couple already.
Should we mention some right now that we want to do, or should we mention some that we're thinking about?
Well, we should mention. I think the first one we should do is going to be the one that's super popular right now that we've been talking about is the Forgotten Battle.
Forgotten Battle, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which the premise is fucking awesome. I appreciated that, and the first bit of the film is okay, and then it just goes off into fucking typical blah blah blah. So we'll get to that, and that's our very recent one, and then we can start going to the older ones.
Right. Well, that's kind of what I want to do.
Are we all going to have to watch that first one and then we all pick one and go through it, rotate through it, or what?
No, listen here, penis, that you're not listening at all. We're going to have crowd suggestions. It's going to be on Patreon only, so like people that are on Patreon will be seeing this. This will also be dropped in March, so you don't have to be a patron until then, but it would behoove you to do that. And,
otherwise, fuck you, pay me. That's what I'm saying to all the people that are suggesting videos. Fuck you, pay me.
Yeah, exactly. It's gonna take a lot of time. It'll be fun, but like,
yeah. But it's gonna be us talking about the movie, and like we can. I don't know if we'll pause during the movie or if we'll like talk about it afterwards.
We will. Yep.
Okay. Cool. Yeah.
We'll pause during it.
Okay. During it. Okay. And but I suggest because like I want to do the Battle of the Bulge from 1965. That movie is shit on a shingle, and
we gotta do the original To Hell and Back. Come on now.
Do you seriously want to do that?
We gotta do that. That should be like one of the first ones we do.
Let's wait a bit on that, like with Saving Private Ryan. Let's wait a little bit.
That dumpster fire! Oh my goodness!
I think we should wait. I think we should wait to do To Hell and Back after Reveille is finished.
Okay, fair.
Yeah, but because that would be kind of a fun thing. Like, hey, we did our Audie Murphy movie. Now let's look at this one. But
yeah, let's cut this lead actor to pieces.
Well, we didn't do our Audie Murphy movie. We did our 3rd Infantry Division movie.
That's true. Yeah. Never mind.
Yep.
Actually,
it's yeah.
Yeah. But like again, I want to do that one. I want to do the Green Berets, the John Wayne movie.
Oh yeah. God.
John Wayne.
These are literally like you're inserting a knife. You're inserting a knife into my rib cage. And now, with every more mention, you just twist it a little bit. It's like, ow!
Yeah, dude, I don't want you to hold back at all when we do it. I want to see the anger coming. So
yeah, I want to see John Wayne's beer gut.
Right. No, that's honestly like when I was hanging out with my friends years ago. Like they would honestly just put on Fury or something. Like we were watching it just to have me rage, and they were like laughing, and I'm like, you don't get it. Like this is fucked up. This is how fucking retarded this. People think this is how it was, and it's not.
This is real. People are gonna think this is what happened.
Well, that's the thing. Like
that's a piece of yeah.
Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
I'm about 2 seconds behind everyone.
It's okay.
So, hurry up and get Starlink.
What I was gonna say was that it'll be a lot of fun and entertaining. However, like all of us probably won't be like laughing too much during it. We're all going to be worked up. So it's not going to be like, we're going to be laughing at you, you know?
That's why it's the Whinery. You know, it's like Whinery. We're whining about the movie, literally whining and bitching.
Yeah.
And again, giving credit where credit's due, but a lot of these films, they get so much shit wrong. That's not that hard to get right.
Right.
You know,
here's
really
something to ask though, like in terms of like shit that they don't get right, like are we going to be breaking that down in terms of, you know, the aesthetics of things or the actual writing or, you know, all of that together basically?
Or just the history of it.
Right, the history of it. Like,
it's everything.
Not only because I could point out, you know, all of the, you know, the wrong vehicles and weapons and such, but like, because what bothers me with a lot of those shitty war movies is the writing, you know, that's what I would really get on.
Well, I mean, cheesy writing was in the 60s. Yeah. Like, come on now.
I get it, but still, you know, it's I could.
Also,
go ahead.
That German only has 127 dimples on his buttons. They're supposed to be 128.
It's gonna come out with a documentary called 128 Dimples.
I told Mike the other day how like I literally knew a guy at a reenactment that went and counted the dimples on people's buttons because the Germans had a specific amount on all their buttons and nobody gets it right. And I was like, nobody gives a fuck. Dude, I didn't say that because I was just amazed that this guy is like devoting his life to this.
Yeah, I would have been dumbfounded.
That is such like a minute detail that nobody gives a fuck about.
Right,
like,
I'm very detail oriented. Right, I love details and I love getting things right. That is one thing I'd be like, you can go die in a grease fire if that's your life's mission is to count dimples on a fucking.
I hope you choke on those 5 hot dogs in your other YouTube videos, like.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me restart my computer and see if it's that because this is lagging so fucking bad. I'll be back in a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, you guys are fine. Yep, you're good.
Okay.
120 took him like 2 minutes to count it. I just had to watch. I was amazed.
I don't know, you can't put that in any way that's not funny. Like, you know, just counting the dimples. Like, I don't know. It just sounds so fucking funny. Like, you know, like this, like a Netflix original. 120.
I mean, like, he was right. Granted, he was right, and he had like proof that like showed he was right. He's right, okay? But like, and as somebody who's a nerd, you know, being technically right is the best kind of right. But like, you're also a kid. You know what I mean? And
yeah, no.
Different times in the war and different manufacturers, like they'd have this kind of dimple, and there'd be this many, and on this button there'd be this many, and
you know what I've noticed. I mean, when it comes to people, it's like it's great, like you're saying, to have things correct and everything like that. But I mean, if someone doesn't, you know, for whatever reason, you don't need to be a fucking prick about it. And
if it's a dimpled button, that's all that matters. Nobody's gonna count the fucking dimples until that guy came along. I didn't think anyone was going to count the fucking dimples until I knew that guy was like, there's 128 dimples on an actual German button. And it's like, so
yeah, I don't know. I just there's a limit to things. Well, I mean, again, it's great to have it correct, but I mean, you got to go about it in the right way. And I've known so many people that are, again, into stuff like that, but they love for people to be wrong so they can come in and correct it.
That's why I love to play as a Canadian here in the United States. Nobody gives a fuck. I'm the only guy walking up there. How's it going, everybody?
No one has that. When you do Canadian reenactments, you have to do like an accent?
No, I just talk normal because that's how they sound.
Right. So. Right. Well, yeah, but like, I mean, even back then, people had kind of different accents than they do today. So it depends on
where you're from in Canada. If you're from Quebec, obviously, a lot of the units from Quebec would speak French until very recently, actually, and there's even some that still operate entirely in French. So.
Okay.
But like most people would sound kind of like upper Midwest. It's a lot of the same. It's a lot of the same people from the same region would settle the same areas. So like Ontario and Saskatchewan and stuff like that are all settled by like Scandinavians and Germans and Irish people for the most part. Right. So like everyone sounds the same. Because it's the same blending of people together. So
Mike's back.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm back.
He's back.
So as long as I don't say anything weird like Chesterfield, nobody will bother me. Or bunny hug. Or pencil crayons. Pencil crayons. Yeah. So that's one thing the Canadians speak. They speak what's called RP English, and Americans speak what's called simplified English.
Right.
So Americans would say caramel. A lot of them say caramel because it's the simplified version, whereas there's clearly 2 A's in the word. So the Canadians would say caramel.
See, like when I was younger, I thought those were different things. I thought like, well, does this have caramel or caramel in it?
Caramel's a brand. Craft caramel is a brand.
Right, so. Kind of Kleenex,
I get it, but like, but like a lot of the Canadians and a lot of foreign people that learn English too, is like a second language. It's always like the long pronunciation of stuff. So like crayon, people in America say crayon, but if you're foreign, you would say crayon because there's multiple vowels in it. So it turns into literally a 2-syllable word.
Yeah. Do you pronounce the T when you say mountain?
Mountain, yeah.
Mountain, okay. That's how they say it where I'm from. Mountain.
Yep, mountain. Mm-hmm. Well, I grew up in the mountains, so I mean that's the taller part of the Rocky Mountains, the better part.
You grew up in them thar hills?
That's right. The foothills of the Rocky Mountains, yeah.
What are you doing, Mike? You're just sitting there.
He's just listening to us, nerds.
Well, no, I'm looking at AIM Surplus, and they've got the X-grade Chinese Noriko.
More Chinese Pokerabs? Those mine's turned out to be super awesome.
Yeah, $200. Yeah, that's. I mean, and so I'm debating: do I get more of them or do I get more ammo?
I think I gotta buy a second one.
Well, they got them in stock right now. They're not going to be in stock much longer. So
fair. Yes, you've been saying something the proper way. If you say I've been saying something Canadian, you're saying it correctly because there's definitely 2 goddamn A's in caramel.
You mean I've talked wrong this whole time?
No, simplified English is literally the recognized language of the United States of America.
I get that.
Simplified English. So it's
in
not
the
wrong.
world. Like, let's be honest here. It's the world,
But
because
like,
literally everybody that I've ever spoken English to in the world that speaks it first, second, or third language can understand my accent very clearly, very, very clearly. So let's just throw that out there.
Yeah, that's why it's still English. But there's some stuff that like simplified English has got right, because in RP English, which is received pronunciation, that's what RP stands for. Aluminium is actually wrong from a historical standpoint. It is aluminum.
It is aluminum.
It was documented first as aluminum, and then accidentally misprinted as aluminium, and it stuck.
It's funny.
Americans are actually right in that regard. So
okay, it's funny talking about this stuff, and then before that we were talking about dimples on the buttons, because it's funny. My father, he absolutely loves it, like the fact that he can figure out like what a word is supposed to actually be or something like that. So like he told me that dictionary should be pronounced dictionary. And so now he says that, or like people say like that's my forte. He said that's my fort is what it should be. And I was like,
well, it depends on what the word is based off of, because English is like,
well, forte is a French word.
Forte is a French word, and you would pronounce the E,
So but whenever he tells me that stuff, I'm like, all right, whatever, Dad.
No, the Americans are right on aluminum. I refuse to say aluminium, even though I was taught aluminium, because I grew up in proper English.
Yeah, I was not taught that.
It is aluminum. Aluminum is literally historically correct, and the British are doing it wrong. So
how do they say aluminum? What did you say before?
Aluminium.
Aluminium.
Yep.
So like
it's literally
how do they say
a different spelling from how the Americans say it is.
Okay. So how do they say cinnamon? Cinnamanium? Like that's just weird.
No,
the
same, but like aluminum and aluminium are spelled differently, but they are the same thing, because it's based on who documented it and what was printed where.
Okay.
But aluminium was printed first, and in the British printing of it, it was spelled differently. So the translation, even though it's both English, but like whoever literally like transcribed the book messed up.
Okay. I trust you.
So, and it's been aluminium.
So another thing, Devin, maybe you can elaborate and explain this one. Is British people, when they say the word saw, like I saw this the other day, when it's followed by a vowel, they add an R onto it. Like I saw a film today. Yes, I saw.
It's actually a regional thing. That's not how most people. I learned it as I saw a film. But like it's a regional thing. It's one of.
You're also not British.
That's fair, but it's
British people from everywhere in the UK that even Irish people do this too.
For sure, but not Scottish people. That's the weird thing.
So, no, they do. I've heard it, but probably like the Southern Scots. Scots, but it's like a lot of it is it's just a regional thing that's stuck for so long. It's not that it's actually pronounced that way. But why?
It's just one of them things where, like, if you grow up with your family saying it like that, you're gonna say it like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like when I was in Missouri during the last week. Yeah, when I was there in Missouri, a lot of people would say plum. If we go down, like the cave is plumb down there, like they'd say that. It was weird.
It's over there.
Well, plum actually has two meanings. So, okay, I don't understand why they would say that, but I can get kind of close to what they probably mean.
Plumb means
when you plumb a door.
Like a technical thing. So.
Yes, when you plumb a doorway in a house, you hang like an actual. It's called a plumb on a string to make sure that the door frame is straight in your house. Yeah. So yeah, it could mean like it's straight that way. Yeah. It's straight down there. Yep.
Yeah. So that's what it was like. So one of the guys said that like cave is plumb down yonder or something like that. I was like, okay, whatever.
Like,
man.
you even speak English? Like, come on.
No, like, he does not. He speaks he speaks Missourian.
Missouri.
Yeah, Missouri is pretty. It can either go really well or really bad if you're talking to somebody from Missouri. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, I'm from Missouri.
Now, which is it?
Or
Is it
I'm from Missouri.
or Missouri?
That's definitely a regional,
based on how
a
the
regional
fucking
thing.
letters are, it is Missouri.
Right, but so here's the thing: is the people that have a southern accent in like the central to southern part of Missouri,
Yeah, the people that
they will say, "I'm
okay.
from Missouri, right?"
Yeah,
and then most of the people that I know from Missouri, they just have a regular Midwest, like not quite an upper Midwest accent, but like it's like they are from Missouri, you know.
it's still like
And
corn.
they might have
like you get that very kind of proper enunciated corn belt talk.
Yes, yeah. So it's not bad. Like, but I've met people also, like people I was in basic with and all that shit that are from like a very rural part of like central and southern Missouri, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm from Missouri." Yeah, and they have a southern accent.
Walmart, weren't you? Because it sounds like it. Get out of here.
Right. And
where I was close to the southern Missouri, so yeah, it was closer to the south.
Yep. Yeah, and they're gonna have a southern accent, and they're gonna.
Now, Missouri borders
it's
Arkansas, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yep.
Right
Arkansas. Yep. It borders Arkansas,
now,
Tennessee, a little bit of Kentucky, Illinois. It's
the what was I gonna say? The funny thing was that the location that we were going to where we're doing the cave stuff, the guy who owns it, like they do a lot of actual Civil War stuff there. So because it's a lot of actual Civil War stuff happened there. So he was like, "So is this the Civil War thing you're doing?" I was like, "No, it's a World War II thing." He's like, "Oh, well, that's different. Most people here do Civil War stuff." I'm like, "Yeah, well, I'm not from here, so."
We're not from the South. You guys lost. Get out of here.
Yeah, Missouri was a southern state, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yep.
Well, they were a border state, but they did help the South. Yeah.
They had
right.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
Oh no, I was gonna make again. I'm lagging again. I restarted my computer, so it's got to be my internet. So my bad.
It's okay. But no, I was just saying that the guy's place, he had like the reenactors, and they're all wearing the southern stuff, and
they're all wearing the gray and
they all look like they're 90 years old, and they're fat as fuck. Yeah, so it
was, that's that's
welcome to the American reenactor, Michael. Welcome.
I know, but it was like you think it was. God bless them. Yep. They're having fun.
We wish them. We wish them well.
You'd probably lose some weight.
Well, it's funny because the guy I met there, he was talking about how all kinds of Civil War reenactors come through. And he's like, and the thing is, they're very rotund. That's what he told me.
They're very rotund.
I love that word. I love that word. And that's why I made that video. Like that's when you saw my channel is like, bring us your old and fat.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like myself included in that, but like it's like, yeah, bring us your old and fat. Like, and they're gonna be most reenactors are gonna be old and or fat.
Thank you. I do all my press ups every day. And,
oh my god, dude!
You also don't reenact. You're not you have all the shit. You just have never been to a reenactment.
No, I don't like people. I should go, but I don't like people.
I sympathize with that.
I should take my Ross and all of my Canadian shit and go down to
hey,
the World War
Yeah, let's be fair though, Devin. So when you should. But like when Michael and I were down at Doug's place a couple of weeks ago, it was actually pretty fun. There was a lot of like younger people there that were actually in shape and like look the part, and I was like, that's really cool. And then so we went out and shot blanks. We were using 03A3s because my M1s are not BFA'd, like or blank firing adapted. So we were like using 03A3s firing blanks, and it was pretty fun. It was kind of like, okay, let's, Michael got to learn how to like how it is to run in a full, almost, it was about half the weight of the actual kit, but like how awkward it is to like.
Yeah. What's that?
Did you get
Devin? Shut your fucking cock holster for a little bit.
That hurts me too because that guy was Canadian that made that rifle.
Garand,
yeah, where did he go to make his life better and actually sell something that was okay? the United States.
Ontario?
Because you can't. Yeah, well.
Which is,
he came down here, though.
Very close to the United States, where he developed, Springfield, Massachusetts, where he developed the M1 Grand.
Worst case, Ontario, you just say, I didn't write that check, and then you just go on. But anyway.
The event was really cool, though. Yeah.
Yeah, and so Michael actually gets to run around with.
You got all your thumbs intact?
No, but so again, if you were listening, fucking clown, we were not using M1s for the actual shooting. We were using 03A3s. Just throwing that out there. Yeah. So it's pretty hard to get Garand Thumb when you're using 03A3, right? Right?
I mean,
right? We're on the same page, Devin. You're fucking listening. You're really reaching right now. You're being a fucking clown face.
I mean, the 03A3, I actually really like the 03A3 a lot. So
yeah, they're nice. It's a
1903 with M1 Grand sights. What's not to like?
Right. And so, we did that. And Michael, he actually ran around full kit and realized how kind of shitty it is to it's awkward. It's just, you got all this shit on you. When you go to run from something, it's usually you're just running. It's well, now I've got all this shit on me and a rifle and it's fun, but it was cool. And,
the last iteration we did, I dropped the pack completely. And I just kept the bandolier around my chest. I was like, I am not running around with that fucking shit on.
Well, I got a question for you. How do your feet feel after that?
My heels were the worst. That was the worst part of it. Yeah. I said to Mike when we were finishing up, I said, we were walking up to the house. I said, I think my heels have detached from my foot, from my bone, and they're just flopping as I take a step. That's what it felt like.
I actually have a manual. Do you know what the recommended break-in time was for those boots before you go into combat?
No.
200 hours of wear.
Wow. Well, we didn't do that much, so that makes sense.
I told them, I've had my boots, my Type 2 service shoes, for 5 years now, and I've worn them probably about, because I used to wear them to school and everything, and I've probably got about, I don't know, 100 or 120 hours in them, and they're still it's barely starting to feel comfortable.
Mine so I could start on that, because if I'm gonna stand in those all day, I'm not gonna. You know what? I might as well stick my foot in a cheese grater. It's the same thing.
Well, that's the thing is Michael's breaking in brand new ones too, which was great. It was they were fucking brand new.
Yeah,
and I'm you're gonna see this
and be like, all right, here I go, because you might as well stick your foot into a cheese grater.
Yeah, it was like that. The thing that actually that was the feet or whatever, I can live with that. But the thing that was kind of was the helmet, was the hurting my head, was getting a headache.
If you don't have the neck muscles developed for wearing that, it hits you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was the part where
and it was both of us got that.
Mike,
both of us had that on the first day.
That an M1 is half the weight of what we actually wore.
Well, no, I did. He knew that, but it's no. I was the same way, because I'm not used to this, so I got a headache too, and I'm and I also the first night we were there in the hotel, I slept in one position the whole night, and then I woke up and I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have a headache today. And then I put the helmet on, and it was like, Jesus Christ, here we go. And then Baron had some ibuprofen, and I'm like, hey, can I get one of those from you? And then I was later on, I'm like, yeah, I need more. And then Michael's like, I need some too. It's just what.
You don't got the whatever for it. A helmet. I hand people them, and I'm like, hold this, and I'm like, they're like, wow, that's heavy. I'm like, oh, really? Well, here's what I stood in for a year, and it's twice as much.
Right.
So,
no. But here's the thing: is you get used to that, because you ease into it. But this is just, we were wearing it, and we were sitting there waiting for the Germans to come by, and they were whatever. We could see them where they were going to be coming, so we were just sitting there waiting, and we're wearing this, and he's like, oh my god, he's like, I got a headache, and I'm like, yeah. Me too.
It didn't hurt.
So we took our helmets off.
It hurt my head. Yeah.
For sure. Well, it's because it's actually compressing the upper discs of your spine, because your head weighs about 10 pounds, but then you're adding 2 pounds to it, and that's a lot. That's 20% more weight.
Right, and your neck and back muscles. Your neck and back muscles also get tired, because you get a headache like the one you had. It's that's your back muscles too. That's going down to your center back, And it's funny.
It's a lot of prep to wear a helmet. So
right, and that's the thing is like what Baron was talking about, and he's totally correct. Is like the actors are going to get their helmets and all their gear before we shoot to get used to it and be like, okay, well, yeah, this is not really that comfortable. It's weird, and the boots, and the
event though was fun. The first one we did was a little weird, but we had some fun. The very first iteration, that is. Mike got killed. I got taken as a prisoner.
That's even worse than getting killed.
No, I wanted to do it because I wanted to see what they were gonna do, and it was funny because the guy I couldn't see him. He was like in the bush, and he was like, he said "get out now" or something in German, but he screamed it. He was like "ah!" And I was like, okay. So I put my hands out like this, and he's like, "Get out here, Schnell!" And I'm like, okay. And I come out, I stand there, and he says, I forgot what he said, but he was like signaling for me to get on my knees. And he's like, saying it in German, "Get on your knees." And I'm like, that's not a World War II thing. That's a modern day like Los Angeles police thing. And so I'm like just sitting.
Put your hands behind your back. You have the right to remain silent.
Right. So like guys didn't get on their knees back then. So I'm just staring there like not knowing what to do. That's what I was playing. I was like, I don't know what you mean. And he comes over and he grabs me and just like shoves me on the ground. then holds my bayonet out. And later on, he was like, "I hope I wasn't too rough on you." I was like, "No, it was cool. I just I wasn't gonna obey your inaccurate orders."
Historically accurate command. Yeah.
So it was fun though. Everyone was really cool.
That's right. At least he didn't execute you.
Yeah, it was. It was fun, and like it was because we were actually the Germans like at the reenacting thing for the first couple of iterations were being graded on like their performance, like okay, you encounter this, you do that, and then we were just the last part of it, and how and it was funny because like the second group, it was a lot different than the first one, and they shot me, but I was still alive, and then Michael ran away, and they got him dead to rights, so he just dropped and he was dead. And the first group, they didn't like come up and like look at our patches or our ranks or anything like that and what we were carrying to gather intelligence. They just went on. Even with Michael, like he was a POW, it's like, well, he's got a 3rd Infantry Division patch on, or whatever. You could just describe it if you didn't know what that was. So he's got this patch on, so this unit is here. They didn't do that. They just kind of went on. And so they got docked points for that, for not gathering the intel, asking him his name.
Yeah.
Right.
When you were
the second group, the guy was really good. Yeah.
When you were wounded, I heard you giving your serial number over and over again.
Yeah, it was just because that's what Geneva Convention is: name, rank, and serial number. That's it. And he kept asking me questions. He gave me water. No, the second group was a lot better at the post action shit because he was like, they were a lot better, but they didn't search me. Because I had the bayonet right underneath my arm. It's like, even though I was wounded, it's still, I'm a threat, like I'm alive. So it's whatever. But no, he was good at like he was like, how many guys are with you? I didn't answer that. I just kept regurgitating shit. He was like, where did the other guy go that was with you? I'm like, oh, he's long gone by now. You're never going to catch him. That's all I said. I'm like, you'll never catch him. Well, even though you were sitting there dead, which is fun. But like, and I'm like, you're never gonna catch him. And so I just kept doing the thing. And no, the second group did pretty good. And it was long story short, it was a lot of fun. The German guys that were there, it was very good, and it was good for them to have OPFOR that weren't just Germans with like 2 pieces of American equipment and German weapons. It was like we were actually in full U.S. Basic gear, and we were out there and we did the shit, and we kind of it was cool for them too. So it was a lot of fun. We got to meet a lot of cool people, and
one thing that was really
Michael, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm lagging behind. So
okay,
when I stop talking, just go ahead. Yep.
Right. The thing that was actually pretty cool for me was that all these people that were around, and it was kind of like their day. They were training, and Mike and I were just kind of there to dick around. And but they throughout the day, someone would come up to me and they'd say, like, hey, I'd meet him, hey, what's up, and everything like that. And then Reveille would get mentioned, and they'd be like, yeah, I know about it. And I'd be like, oh, you do, huh? And they'd be like, yeah, that's why I wanted to talk to you. I'm like, all right, cool. So it was a little bit of a celebrity moment, if you will.
Oh, you didn't want to be like, well,
Yeah, it
I'm
was funny.
talking for money.
I didn't do that.
No, there was one time I was talking to Doug. I was giving his shit back that I had for the trailer. I was giving him. We were counting like whatever was in there, and then one of the guys was like, kind of like literally, Michael was just standing there watching, and this guy's like inching closer to him, and Michael didn't notice it because we were pretty tired at that point and whatever. And he's inching closer to him, and he goes, "Hey," and Michael's like, well, why don't you tell the story? Like,
well, I was sitting there, yeah, and then all of a sudden this guy, yeah, he's next to me and he's like, hey man, what's up? And I'm like, hi, and he goes like, I just wanted to meet you. And did he shake my hand? I don't remember if he did or not, but
yep.
And I was like, hey, what's up? I just want to meet you. Just wanted to tell you that I know what you're doing, and it's awesome. Like, I'm like, oh, cool, man. Yeah, thanks. And then like he sat there for a minute and just like wanted to geek out for a minute. I'm like,
oh, you're missing out on so many opportunities to be like, why? Do you want to buy some Coke? Like, you're missing out on so much like comedic relief stuff. Like, so,
I wasn't thinking about that.
That is always like the first thing in my head. It's like, fuck with people. We gotta do this.
To be fair, we were pretty tired. Like, we had already been running around for about 3/4 of the day.
Well,
it was just kind of. Michael was zoning out. That's the thing. Is like, right, exactly. And he was like, Michael was kind of zoning out. He was just kind of like looking at, I was talking to Doug, and I'm like, yeah, so you have everything, like, we're good, and then we're counting shit. And then Doug and I were talking. He's like, yeah, that's mine. Yep, we're good. This isn't mine. Okay, and then Michael's just kind of standing there, and this kid was like inching closer, like, just, hey, is it okay if I talk to you? It's like, well, yeah, I mean, duh. But Michael was like kind of off put by it, and he's like, yeah, cool. And
you can only talk to me in Mandarin, though. Just
right.
No, it was funny, but that I forgot about that because we were going through all that stuff, and I was like, because there were some things in there too, I was like, that's mine, no, that's mine, or something like that. And then you were like saying, this is mine. And he was like, this is mine. And I was focused on that. Then all of a sudden, yeah, this guy's standing right next to me. And I'm like, oh, okay.
But I saw him moving closer to you, and I was just like not registering it because I'm like, well, what is this guy doing? Like, as long as he wasn't being like, his body language is not like dangerous.
Right.
So I was like, well, Michael's got to deal with that. But I'm just like, I wanted to make sure Doug got everything back that he had sent.
And go back to whatever. Yeah.
Well, dude, I was about 6 feet away from you. Like, if something would have gone awry, it would have. I was right there, so it was like,
yeah. You just want to be like, John, and tackle this guy to the ground, like.
Yeah. No, I'm not Michael's security. No, I'm not Michael's security. I don't get paid enough for that shit.
That's fair.
Fuck that. He's on his own. He's on his own. Yeah,
on my own with that one. Listen, but the same thing happened. The guy actually who gave me the bullshit "get on your knees" order geeked out when he saw Mike a little bit. Yeah, he came up and was like,
yeah, that was fun.
He's like, I want your YouTube.
Yep.
Yeah, why don't you tell that story?
Well, no, what he told me, and then I got to poop, but he goes up to me, he's like, yeah, I do have to poop though, and I don't hold it.
Well, that's all right. We're getting damn near, almost 2 hours. So.
You could leave. I'm good to go. Like, I'm actually pretty well rested. I took a nap today and everything, but like, if you got to go, Devin, that's fine. But anyway, so this guy goes up to me, and like, we're doing the safety brief for the day of like the guys showing guys how blanks actually spit out a lot of fucking force, right? Point blank. And this guy is like, he gets close to me because he goes, hey man, I'm I forgot his fucking name. Anyway, I wouldn't say it on here, but he goes, I'm so and so, and you have about $1,000 worth of my money, for stuff. And I'm like,
huh?
Oh, you're a customer of mine? And he goes, yeah, I love your stuff, man. Like, I spent like $1,000, and I'm like, oh, that would have been nicer to say, like, then you have about $1,000 worth of my money. Like, I'm like,
he was trying to be a clever boy,
right? And it didn't work out great. It was like,
man, I paid for that meth. No.
Right. Yeah, obviously I paid for it. It's working really well. You know,
Mhm.
I'm very skinny now. And but he's just like that, and he's like, yeah, I watch your YouTube stuff too. And I'm like, all right on, yeah. And you know, so we're talking and shit.
He's like, okay.
And I just like when that shit happens, like I don't know, I think I'll probably be the same even if we get super famous in like the movie industry. I'll just be like, all right, dude, like cool, good to meet you. Because like Michael was the same that he always is. Like when he was talking to that guy that was like, hey, I just wanted to meet you and say it. Michael's like, yeah, right on, dude. Like it's just like very
I'm just a guy.
like, easy.
Yeah,
exactly.
So, like, did you hear that? Like, so while Kong was up, we went to the gun range, and I got recognized, but from your YouTube channel, not from mine.
Oh, that's
yeah. And I was like, yes, I am so and so, and they're like, right on.
You're felonious, Devonius.
Yeah. So I'm like, no,
that's the whole point, though. Of like, Devin's goal has always been to do YouTube as kind of a side thing. Mine is like intertwined because I love doing it. I've been doing it for a lot longer, and so like the whole thing is like, whenever we do videos together, I'm like, hey, I shout out his channel, I say who he is, go subscribe and all that shit, and that's how his channel grows a lot more than like him posting up videos, because now the algorithm is like it does not favor people who are you know whatever. So that's how we do that. And then so for him to say that he got recognized because of my channel is not a bad thing at all. It's actually a good thing.
It was cool. I was like, for real, you know who I am. So
right, yeah, it's cool. Well, that's the thing is like at a gun show a few years ago up in God, where the fuck were we up by Moose Lake? It might have been in Moose Lake. Back before my channel, even I had like 30,000 subs at that point, and this guy comes over and he's like looking at me and he's just like, I'm like, oh God, fuck, I'm not concealed carrying. What's going on? He's like, are you Mike B? And I'm like, yeah. He goes, dude, I've been watching your YouTube channel since you basically like started making videos. It's so awesome. And I'm like, really? Well, that's what I said to him. I'm like, really? I'm like, thanks.
Are we watching the same YouTube videos? Like,
yeah, and I'm like, thanks. And he still comments on my shit once in a while. And I actually saw him again at another gun show when Dakota and I were there. And there was a guy that came up and he's like, because I used to do streams with Dakota all the time, like because
I remember he dropped off. That's how I started talking to you.
Before he dropped off the face of the earth, and then these people come up to me like, really, it's Mike and Dakota? Like you're Mike B and that's Dakota? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh my God, I love your streams. Like they're awesome. And like, I love your videos and all that shit. And I'm like, thanks. And then he's like, so I'm about to buy this K98. Like he came back later and he's like, I'm about to buy this K98. The guy says it's all matching and he wants $1,200 for it. And I'm like, he goes, would you be willing to like, you know, look it over? And I'm like, well, if it is all matching, it's a good price, but like, it's probably not. And so I went over, I was like to kind of watch the things that we were selling. He's like, yeah, sure. And so I went over there and I asked the guy that was selling, I'm like, can I disassemble this? I know what I'm doing. Like, I'll be very careful. I disassembled it. The stock didn't match. And I'm like, nope. We got down to the stock in the channel, the receiver channel the number did not match. And I'm like, it's not matching. This is worth about $600 at this point because it was in really good shape.
Yep.
Because it was like a matching barreled receiver with a matching bolt that was put into a different stock.
Yep.
And then the seller's like, well, I don't know. I'm selling it for a friend. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. I don't care. And the kid's like, okay, well, I'm going to pass on that. Then I'm like, good. Yeah, it was good. So anyway, that I'm going to go poop. So I'll be back in about 5, possibly 10 minutes, probably more like 5
hours.
All right. If you're gone longer than that, I'll call the Coast Guard. They need the action.
They don't have the gear to surf in my toilet, especially with the shit that I'm
unfortunately, if they can't help you, nobody can. They're the only ones allowed to operate in intercoastal waters. So
yeah, well, I appreciate the effort. You guys can come up with some fucking weird nerd discussion that I'll jump in on and we'll talk about when I get back.
All right, go take a 10-foot shit.
Well, it's gonna be a little shit.
Okay.
If it's not a full coil, I'm not interested.
I haven't had a low coil or a full coil since the operation. But
oh gosh, that's probably healthy. To be fair,
go for it. Go for it.
Probably is. Yeah. All right, later.
The Coast Guard. Oh God, I told people that I was like, God, you were in there so long, I thought you fell in. I was going to call the Coast Guard.
Where I work, we sell Coast Guard decal. We sell military decals like none other, and
Coast Guard decals.
Yeah, they're decals actually, as you would call them. Sorry,
decals. Yeah. Decal.
But the Coast Guard ones sell the least amount.
Nobody gives a shit about the Coast Guard.
But we've had meetings about that. We're like, should we get rid of Coast Guard altogether?
Well, unfortunately, people talk shit about the Coast Guard. They do more work than like any other military branch. And here's the thing: they're also not a military branch because they're not part of the Department of Defense. They're part of the Department of the Interior.
Oh, okay.
So they're technically not a military branch, but like the Coast Guard does. Their work doesn't change whether a war's on or not. They're doing a shit ton of work all the time.
Yeah. So I mean, it deserves acknowledgement. And, going back to D-Day, a lot of U.S. Coast Guardsmen were a part of D-Day. So
and even into like Vietnam, a lot of Coast Guard guys transferred to the Navy for to operate PT boats and stuff like that. So
so we love you, Coast Guard.
And they're the only ones who didn't give into that bullshit digital camouflage stuff. They're like, you know what we're gonna go with? Blue.
Do they not have any kind of camouflage?
Nope, they wear just the BDUs.
Okay.
Like the old 1980s uniform, but just in solid blue.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I was like, props to you for your no nonsense bullshit, Coast Guard.
That digital thing. Again, I'm not really an expert, but like that digital thing, it's slowly dying out or something.
You can thank Canada for that whole digital thing, and it's actually more and more countries are adopting digital until multicam came out.
That's the one I'm seeing more. When I did work for the military, I saw that new one that looks more like the old 90s type stuff.
Yeah, the digital stuff. The multicam is actually really good. It's used by there's 200 something countries in the world. It's used by 180 of them. We're one massive friendly fire incident away from everyone getting rid of it.
Nice.
It's weird, but they're the only ones that are solid blue, and they wear black boots still. They're
blue and boots.
That's right. They're out there just scraping clams off all the buoys and shit.
Hey, someone has to do it.
Rescuing all the people, and they also stop more narcotics coming into the country than anyone. It's shit tons,
right?
But
yeah,
they capture so many drugs, and the Coast Guard is they're good people, to be fair.
Right. We shouldn't give them shit.
No,
if anyone,
everyone's they're the worst branch, and that's when I go, well, technically they're not part of the military. So.
Yeah, they're their own thing.
So that means we all have to revert back to making fun of the Air Force, not only because they suck and they spend the most money, but they also bomb the most friendly people. So
I can't make fun of the Air Force because my lead actor who's playing Audie Murphy was in the Air Force.
Right. Well, I'm going to tell you a little story then about how terrible the Air Force is. All right. Okay. So the very first Canadian casualties taken since the Korean War, and there was 12 of them, were killed by the fact that the U.S. Air Force, I think it was a major and a lieutenant colonel in the U.S. Air Force, denied rules of engagement and dropped a bunch of 500-pound bombs on a bunch of Canadians on a training exercise in Afghanistan.
Okay, so you have a dog in this fight then because it's personal to you.
No. I could forgive that. People are, they mess up. But then the Air Force went on to do it again with a bunch of other foreign countries 12 more times. Okay. Which is exactly 13 more times than anybody else's Air Force. So, yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to. I'm not going to.
Pretty great.
I'm not going to defend or justify anything because I don't know. But I mean, that fucking sucks that happens.
That's right. And then I'm going to tell you something cool about this wonderful plane that yours and mine and everybody else's taxpayer dollars, billions. All right, that's with a B. All right, hundreds, by the way. So with two zeros and a number in front of them. All right, billions went to this wonderful plane called the F-35, which the Air Force declared this year a failed project.
Oh, fuck.
So, yeah, because they suck. So I'm sorry if you're in the Air Force or you like the Air Force, but don't. Because they spend the most money of any branch.
Oh,
and
man.
They mess up the most stuff of any branch, and they have like the worst requirements of any branch as far as like physical like aptitude and stuff goes. It's like, they don't even need to run anymore.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, welcome to the Air Force.
Well, you'll have to chum it up then with my actor who's gonna play Audie Murphy when you.
That's all right. I don't hold a grudge. I was also almost bombed by the Air Force.
Oh shit!
Give or take like 50 yards, probably would have died.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So you actually saw the bombs and everything like that.
Yeah, they firebombed a bunch of opium fields right next to a compound we were sitting in, and even though it was communicated that we were in this compound, they basically bombed the fucking compound we were in. And I was like, hello, Air Force, U.S. Air Force, what are you doing? So
was everyone? Were all your people? Yeah, because you were in the Canadian military, right? So was everyone like over there like really like shit talking the U.S. Air Force and everything?
Well, here's the thing: a lot of it was like proximity. The U.S. Air Force did most of the fire support in the whole conflict.
Okay,
they just did. And when it wasn't the U.S. Air Force, it was usually the Army with helicopters. So it was usually the U.S. doing the bombing, but the Air Force, for some reason, like they must be just really lax and stuff, but like they bombed a lot of friendly people for like no reason, like no good reason.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
We were just shit talking, or Devin was shit talking the U.S. Air Force.
Yeah, I've always disliked the Air Force a lot, and yeah,
there's good reason for it. Like there's good reason for it. I'm sorry, but like
it's literally like I don't know. There's a lot of people that I know who were in the Air Force that I'm like, you can't walk and chew gum at the same time, but you made it through the Air Force.
Yeah.
Like what the fuck? It's like a civilian corporation.
You don't even need to run anymore, Mike. So like, come on now.
Well, no, but it's like whatever. All the finite details aside of how fucking retarded it's getting, and it's gotten, and dude, it's like. I'm like, they're literally civilian, like it's a civilian corporation that wears a uniform, gets paid on the government dole.
I was telling Devin, I said, you're gonna have to be nice to my lead American actor in our movie because he was Air Force.
Hey, as long as he wasn't a pilot, I'm sure he's a great guy.
He was not a pilot. No, he was not. He was.
Oh, good. Then he's probably fine.
But no, Jared's not. He's been on here. He's been on the stream. He's like, Jared's not a cunt though. That's the thing. It's like Jared's like, yeah, I did what I did. It was cool. Like I did it, and then then I moved up here. It's like
people that are really dickish because they think they're in the best branch.
Right. No, Jared's a cool guy. Like I've talked to him. I've given him a little bit of shit. He just kind of took it and flung a little bit back, but not like a dickhead. He's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he's like, I understand Air Force.
Yep. Yeah, exactly. And so it was like Jared's a good guy. Like I don't mind that, but like there's an overwhelming amount of people that I've met who are in the Air Force that are just fucking shitbags. Like I'm like, they're like, I was in the military. I'm like, oh, were you? What did you do? You flew a fucking desk, is what you did. Yeah, right. Good job.
Hey, I almost caught a fire.
Well, we go to Devin's fucking PTS stories now. Is that what we're gonna do?
No. I did get real high on burning opium though. That was real good.
You actually got high off that?
Way high, like to the point where I was like, I realized something was wrong when I was like, I can't feel my fingertips. That was like, okay, something's wrong here. So,
well, at least you had something fun go on in your deployment.
That's right. Then I remember sitting with like all of the like 40 other guys that were with me in this compound in IVs, sitting there because they're like hydrate and detox and stuff like that. And a guy from the Air Force came in. He's like, I need you to sign this saying you won't sue if you become addicted to opioids. And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, because we almost bombed you and he got you super high. We don't want you to sue. I was like,
and you're like, no, I'm not signing that.
Yeah. And they're like,
I would have been like, I didn't even know I could do that before, but now that I know, I'm definitely suing you.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. It's like, you know what I
Right.
could really go for right now? Vicodin. You know, yeah. But man. That was a fun time though. Sitting in IVs, just trying to hash out legal shit with the Americans. That was a good time.
Someone commented here in the chat. Chuck Norris was in the Air Force. I don't give a flying fuck about.
I thought Chuck Norris was in the Marines.
I don't know.
He was in the Air Force.
I'm looking it up now.
Well, you know what? I'm sorry. Chuck Norris isn't as cool in my book now. All those memes about him are wrong.
Well, Chuck Norris.
Well, yeah, guess what? Bob Ross. Bob Ross is in the Air Force.
So was Johnny
Nobody
Depp.
mentions him.
Like,
well, that was mentioned by our favorite resident retard, Michael Mitchell.
but wait, wasn't he in the Air Corps? Wasn't it still the Air Corps when Johnny Cash was in it? Which means he was in the Army. So.
Okay, yeah, Chuck Norris was in the Air Force. Yeah, that's right.
Well, I'm sorry, Chuck Norris.
Johnny Cash was. When did Johnny Cash join the whatever? Because like
I think it was the late 40s, wasn't it?
September 17th, 1947 is the or September 18th. 47 is the Air Force was actually a branch.
Right. Let's see here. U.S. Air Force Security Service in West Germany. Let's see here, 1950.
Yes, he's in the Air Force. Yeah.
Yeah.
Darn.
Yeah. Oh well. People mentioned that in the chat. There's actors.
But again, who gives a flying fuck?
The Air Force, because they fly, Mike.
That's okay. Who gives a tuppeny fuck?
Have you guys seen the movie Best Years of Our Lives?
No.
Okay. It was made in 1945, and it's about basically guys coming back from World War II. And one of the main characters in it was a bombardier in the Air Force. And at the very end, he's talking to someone he meets who's running a bulldozer, and he says he starts telling that he was in the Air Force and everything. He says, "Oh well, while you were up in the blue yonder, I was down on the ground in a tank. Sorry if I don't show any sympathy."
I think I remember that. That sounds very familiar. Maybe I have seen that.
Okay, yeah, it's an old movie. It's black and white.
Yeah, where he was like, "Yeah, well, you were up, just minding your own business up in the sky." He's like, "I was getting fucked over."
Right, that's basically what he was saying.
Yeah,
I was down in a fucking tank. It was terrible.
Well, I mean, to be fair though, being in a bomber crew in the Second World War, not good.
Yeah,
not good.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's a reason if you flew 15 missions and you survived, you were allowed to go home.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 15 missions is like not that many nowadays. Like guys fly hundreds of missions on one deployment. If they flew 15 and they survived, they had the option to go home. It's like, well
maybe if they put more B-19s in the European theater, B-29s in the European theater, it would have been fine.
B-19?
I was about to say, what the fuck?
Right.
Sorry. I got 17 and 29 mixed together.
Making up planes here, man. But
25 missions.
Yeah, right. Because the B-29 flew like way higher than flat cannons could go.
Yeah, I have to say,
but it was still a bitch.
I'm looking forward to HBO's The Mighty Eighth. That's going to be their third installment. The World War II series. They're the Band of Brothers, The Pacific, and now The Mighty Eighth, which is going to be about the year.
You gotta go with all the units that are very well known. Woo!
Yeah, but still, it's going to be interesting because I like Band of Brothers in the Pacific. I mean, I acknowledge their issues,
okay,
but
I
like them. So
which one's better in your opinion?
That's really tough to ask. I like things, different elements, but more and less in both series. Sometimes when I'm watching it, I like Band of Brothers more. Sometimes when I'm watching the Pacific, I like the Pacific more. I think Band of Brothers is clearer to understand. I think the Pacific is a little clumsy with its
jumps around a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, it has these stories that aren't connected at all that it's following, and that can be a little jarring. I'd say Band of Brothers is a little more coherent. But I think the human elements of the Pacific are more well done. I like that they actually show more like fuck ups and like not fuck ups in terms of people being stupid, but like just people breaking down.
Yeah,
and,
I like when that guy pees his pants like 20 times.
Right. Yeah. So I mean that's so I mean there's more stuff like that in the Pacific that I thought I appreciated that really raw type stuff. So
it was like we were talking about too, like that scene where God, what the hell's his name? The crazy mortar guy. It's
Snafu.
Yeah, it's like, hey, don't start pulling those teeth because they have bacteria and all that shit. Like, it's like what he's really saying is you don't want to become like me.
Right. He already knows. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
He's like, no, you don't want to do that, and he's just like, nah, stay away from that. And I that kind of like really deep shit you have to like really see,
read into,
and be like, okay, he knows that he's fucking corrupted. He's done. And he doesn't want this guy who's got some hope left to become like him completely. And that was kind of cool, that kind of thing. And then in Band of Brothers, it's like I enjoyed the banter with the guys more.
That was really well done.
Yep, where it's like they're giving each other shit all the time. They're just it's constant, and it's like that's how it is in an actual, like, I talked to guys that were in World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Panama, Grenada.
Yeah, it's not a real war until somebody in their downtime tries to hit another guy in the dick.
Right. It's like you're constantly just even when you're in a situation that's like really fucked up, you're constantly giving each other shit because it's like that dark. It's like coping humor.
Light humor in it. So
right, it's a coping humor. It's like it's fun, Oh, okay, fuck you, whatever. But it's But we could go through, and I mean, someday, if the winery actually gets popular and like we do this, we could do each episode of Band of Brothers and the Pacific, and go through that.
Man,
I mean, that would take us like 2 weeks to do.
That would take a long time. Yeah.
But if it takes off, we'll see. And but it's for right now, they're both okay in their respective genres, and like the way it was, because the Pacific was filmed way differently than Band of Brothers was.
Yeah,
even though it's similar, it was like kind of the writing and the scene jumping and all that shit, the different characters. It's like in Band of Brothers, it was like you said, it's more cohesive. It's like, okay, well, we're following one group of guys from their after basic training,
beginning to end.
Yep, beginning to end. Well, almost the beginning, to the end, and then they also got a lot of things really fucking wrong, which is
that's fun. Well, I have a source, who claims that Dale Dye was almost fired from the Pacific because he had, for the first episode, he had the all the Marines landing in khakis and the World War I helmets, and
1917-81, the Kelly.
And that's he had them. They actually filmed the scene like that, and then someone saw that and was like, "What the hell is the matter with you?"
No, it was a mix. Like there was a couple guys wore khakis, but it's not. No, it's no. At that point, it was like, so it would be more realistic for the 32nd Division, my division, to land in New Guinea in late 42 to be wearing khakis and Kelly helmets, but they still didn't. They wore M1s, and they had M1 rifles, and Guadalcanal was like, yes, the Marines, but they still had that equipment there. So I'm glad somebody called them out on that, because that would have been horseshit.
That would have been a huge mess
all
up.
the frontline people like that would have definitely had M1s and stuff. So
see, this is why you have multiple advisors and not just one old guy.
Well, that's the thing, is like, and I don't mean any disrespect to Dale Dye, because like he served his time, he did his thing, but I don't trust myself on even Reveille to get everything right. And I've told you that, and everybody knows it. It's like I obviously I've missed things. We had the discussions with the advisors where I missed something or I just got something wrong, and it's like, oh fuck, okay, and then I go research. I'm like, okay, you're correct, and that's why it's better. But like that's typical Hollywood SOP though, is to have one guy.
Well, they only want to pay for one guy. Everything's money.
Right.
So, like,
right, exactly. And it's like, well, would you rather, have a bunch of different people that are? We're also like, here's the thing: is the advisors in this film and in subsequent works that we're going to be doing are also doing other things. It's not just that we're just advisors. We're also doing other things, and we talk and we go, okay, well, what about this? Let's bring this up.
Yeah.
In the advisor role, and it's like
Mike is in charge of the weaponry. He's our armorer too.
yeah,
right. But I also
Alec
get
Baldwin's on set.
Well, yeah, I also get knowledge from Brian, right?
Yep.
Who's the other American advisor, because I didn't know when the lock bars and the let's see if I got this. Yeah, I do have it right here, as a matter of fact. When the gas plug for the M1, it's this, Jesus Christ.
Turn the light on in there.
There we go. When the gas plug for the M1 went from the slot like this to the cross section one.
Cross set, yeah.
I didn't know, and he's like, yeah, in 43, and he gave me some sources. He's like, yeah, they would have had the slot like that, because in 44 they would have started introducing the cross one and whatever. And I'm like, oh, interesting. And so even though like I'm technically
that's weird, because even
I knew
that, and I'm not like, that's not even my forte.
Sure, but like, even though I'm technically in charge of all this shit, I still have other people who are like, no, actually it was this, and they give me sources, and it's like, oh, excellent. And I don't take offense to that at all.
With all the lock bars.
Right, and it's like, and I don't take offense to that. I just go, well, shit, now I have to source this, but like it's not like an attack on my knowledge or lack thereop. It's like, oh, now I know.
You learn something new.
Yeah, I'm learning, and it's like, it's so cool. And like with Alex, like I fucked up on that first picture. I put the wound badge on the wrong side of the pocket.
Right.
And Alex was like, right before you posted that, he's like, no, here's all these documents, like, and this is, it was in the order of, they were awarded. And I'm like, oh, fuck. Gotcha. And like, cool. I'm like, thank you. Like, yeah, it's great. Like, now I know, and it's not going to be incorrect. And, and so, but a lot of people like, I think Dale Dye would take offense to being corrected by peers and whatever, because like,
kind of guy.
Well, I know this.
He's the only one, so nobody's there to correct him.
Right. That's the issue. Yeah, it's a big problem. It's like, and I encourage like people to, like, we already have proven. If I say, all right, here's what I have, they go, well, this would be more accurate if it was this. Why is that? And it's not like I'm asking like, why is that? I'm just like, why? I want to know. Like,
because this isn't this.
Right. They give me sources, and it's the same way for everything. Like with Michael's writing, like we corrected a bunch of shit on his script, on like the setting and everything, or the set and like the kind of whatever. And like Michael was like, oh yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, let's awesome. Like, yeah, I so it's like,
that's what I wanted you to do.
Right. And that's it's really cool. And then we have like multiple sources, and it's that's why I think getting the movie thing, I think we're going to be a little bit ahead of a lot of other productions, because we've got so many eyes on the same goal, but we've all got our different areas of expertise. And if somebody doesn't know something, it's like, it's not a bigger dick thing. It's just like, no, let's get this correct because of this.
Yeah.
And
what happens if they
okay, fucking
have a bigger dick?
Well, in my case, they probably do. Like, most people on set probably do, including the women. Like, let's be honest here.
Well, I mean, to be fair, your balls will never be cold while you're peeing. So like,
no, here's the thing: is I've got like the middle-aged white guy balls, where it's like massive balls, and like got the little chode going on,
So little chest piece bishop. Yeah.
Well, it's like a tuna can. You know what I mean?
Oh,
really wide, but no length.
Right. And that it's also fine. Like whatever. Most people have a bigger dick than I do, but like it's God, it's fun. But like no, it's so far in this film, it's been really, like, even the crew and the cast and everything have been just awesome, working together with like all these details and asking questions too.
Yeah.
It's like when you ask questions, then everything gets better.
Right.
And
another cool thing is that a lot of this, because it's we've extended it now, the whole thing, and we're talking about building a bivouac and stuff like that along the winter line, and to represent that we didn't have before. And Doug Strong has a PupChen, that rocket launcher device. And he's going to bring that. Raketenwerfer. And he's going to bring that to be, because those were actually deployed in Italy. So he's going to bring that to be part of our winter line set, which is going to be cool.
I don't like explosives.
You don't like explosives?
I don't like explosives.
It's not going to be loaded with anything.
Okay, good. Hey, but that's what Alec Baldwin got. Just saying, so.
We're not going to load a rocket into it, dude.
Yeah, let's load a fucking giant anti-tank or anti-infantry rocket into this fucking thing. Yeah, let's get the ATF clearance and then spend $30,000 on one round.
I mean, it's Missouri. Who's gonna care?
They probably don't even make them anymore. Like they want live.
You can get anything made, but it's oh my god, it's so expensive.
Yeah, that would take me like at least $50 worth of tannerite to throw together.
Imagine that, like we're out there and then we're out there doing that, and then Doug's like, "Hey, check this out," and just like shoots a fucking rocket.
Tree falls over in the tree line. Just
you see the explosion. You hear the
boom. The wave hits you.
Then fuck.
Fucking like, Mr. Lee, Mr. Lee, the 90-year-old landowner that we met, comes out. What the fuck was that?
You want some firewood?
Yeah, we got some firewood for. We can cut it up really quick.
Doug is pretty cool.
Yeah. Doug will be sitting there. Yeah, that was pretty cool, was it? Yeah, like you said. It's fucking
shit.
Dude, Doug Strong is a fucking amazing asset to have working on films.
Yeah, and he's really into it too.
Yep, and we're all into it. It's like dude, when we went down there, he's got 20 plus acres that he's got like a trail through, and there's like positions set up that are accurately built and everything with zelts and wood and everything. And it's so fucking cool to go out there. And then he's also got a Ford, don't know what the fucking model is, that was it's an American truck that was captured by the Germans. They used it, and then it was recaptured by the Americans, and then it somehow made it back here after the Second World War. Because he's got the documentation for the truck and the serial number and everything. And he's got that out there, and it runs, and he drives people around in it, and it's fucking great. That's and it's awesome. So Doug is like he's also into getting things like accurate and like right and however he can help. So yeah, Doug's an amazing asset, and it's gonna be so fucking fun, so fun.
Oh yeah, he's gonna build a bivouac for us.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like we're gonna build an entire German basically a campsite. Like that's their line. That's where they're at. They got the Zelt tents, and they're just kind of sitting there. And
who's gonna?
Doug's gonna be in charge of that. They didn't have. Here's the thing, Devin. Okay. I'm sorry, Michael. I'm just gonna explain this to Devin really quick. So the 15th Panzer Division, that was initially in Africa, where a lot of these guys came from, went through North Africa, got completely fucked up by the British and the Americans. Mostly the Americans, and then they went to Sicily and they lost what remaining armor they had. They lost about 90% of their armor, their tanks and everything.
So for 1 second, Panzer means tank, right?
Yes.
So the tank people don't have any tanks,
right? So when they went to Italy,
just make them regular people.
Right. So again, if you let me finish before rudely fucking interrupting me like your fucking Canadian ass always does. When they went to Italy, they were like, well, you don't have any armor left. You're not a Panzer Division anymore. Now you are the 15th Panzer Grenadier Division.
Oh.
So the Panzer Grenadiers were basically armored infantry that, mechanized infantry that would fight along the German tanks and stuff. They were specialized in anti-tank weapons and taking out anti-tank guns and everything like that. Like They're a little bit. They're basically like I don't know how. There's no equivalent really, but like they were specialized infantry.
Yeah, they're mechanized infantry.
But they were more specialized in protecting the tanks than they were.
Oh, okay. They're mechanized infantry with explosives.
Anti-tank and anti. So they're not elite. They're not. That's the thing is like there's a weird line. Like they're not elite, but they're
better than average.
Right. They're not your average infantry unit that you're going to be facing, right?
Okay.
They're very specialized. And so when they got to Italy, they were like, yeah, you're now Panzer Grenadiers, all of you guys. You have light. They had a lot of like light vehicles, like scout cars and shit like that still left. But they still were not a Panzer division. And so when they were engaged with the U.S. and some British forces later on, they were like, it's like hitting Rangers, because they weren't like Rangers, but like they weren't like the Americans they weren't going against just regular infantry guys. They were going against guys that were
they're going against
really hard
infantry,
advanced infantry, right? You know, and it's like heavy infantry basically you would call it. And they knew tactics, and they had weaponry that would so whatever. And that's why they had a really rough go in the winter line, is because they were not just facing regular infantry units,
Joes. Okay.
Right. And so that's the kind of history.
People with no tanks, but they still had explosives. Got it.
Correct. And they knew how to use them.
Good. That's the thing. If there's people using explosives, I want them to know how to use explosives.
Well, and they were also, the Panzer Grenadiers were really fast. That's the thing, is like their doctrine was like, okay, if we're in a tank battle,
they're mechanized infantry.
Right. And so basically if they were engaged in a battle and they had a bunch of tanks, they would be like, okay, let's get up and immediately take out the anti-tank guns and all the shit that can harm the tanks so they can get through. Let's get there really fast, really quick, and hit them hard. And like they did that. And that's why, because here's the thing is the 1st Special Service Forces actually hit this unit as well, the 15th Panzer Grenadier Division. And that's why they had such a rough go, is because these guys were not regular infantry. They were like, they knew how to use their machine guns. They knew how to, interlocking fields of fire, explosives, all that shit. Like they knew how to do that. And that's why in Italy, the 1st Special Service Force had such a rough time at the beginning, is because they were facing
the Brazilians.
What?
Yeah, the Brazilians, they were there.
Yeah, they weren't in the 1st Special Service Force. What the fuck?
No, but they were there.
Shut the fuck up, Devin.
I just shared that photo. That's a German Panzer Grenadier from the unit that we're talking about on the winter line in Italy, 1943.
With this cool anti-tank rifle.
Yeah, it's a Panzer Buchse 43 or 39.
Yeah, the Polish one. It's Polish, right?
No, it's German.
Like
no, it's German. It's German.
That's Polish.
No, that's a semi-automatic. That's a semi-automatic German anti-tank gun. It doesn't have a magazine in right now.
Panzer Buchse 39.
That's the falling block one, because that little box on the left is where you would store extra rounds.
That's where you put the magazine.
You can see the falling block right where you would work it and then slide the one round in.
Hey, Devin, on this one, I'm going to say you and I don't know enough about this to comment on it.
No, it's a Panzer Buchse. What's it called? 38. It's
39. It's a Polish gun.
No. It's a. Sorry, I just looked it up. It's a Granata Buchse 39. It's a different type of thing. It's a rare type of German anti-tank rifle thing. It's Here, I'm looking it up right now. It's GRB 39 is what it's called.
Yeah. So Alexi says that one's a self-extracting one, German made.
Oh, okay.
The more expensive and eventually dropped variant.
Yeah, Granata Buchse Model 39.
Also, that helmet's a repro.
That replaced that, right?
Sorry, what did you say, Mike?
I was just joking. Like I was talking. Like I said, that helmet's a repro, obviously, but it's not. I'm just joking. It's an M35. It's an M35. That helmet's an M35. So.
But kind of cool. I mean, that's a really rare thing that I forgot. I was trying to say. I knew that there was a different thing between the Panzer Buchse and the Granata Buchse, and that's what that is.
Okay.
Very rare thing that you'd usually never see. In fact, where I found this photo, it claimed in the description that it was a machine gun, which I knew it wasn't. And,
no, it's not.
No.
Yeah. But you can tell.
It's got on the end, so on the very end of it, it looks like the I forgot the actual nomenclature, but like the K98 grenade launcher. Like if you look at the muzzle,
the rifle grenade cup.
Yeah. I think it.
Were they shooting like blanks? We'll have to do some more research.
They shoot wooden bullets.
Oh yeah, so it's a blank. Yeah, it's a blank. And so they would put the grenade in the end of that thing, an anti-tank grenade, but it got more distance than a K98 because of the longer barrel, I would assume.
Yeah.
Right.
And the higher powder charge.
Right. Cool.
But I don't know what this is right here. This is that's a shovel, obviously, or a spade. That's his canteen.
That's a folding shovel, which was new in 43. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's a German one, but that was new in 43.
Okay.
That's very. Do you have an exact date on this photo?
Let me look here.
42. No, yeah.
No, that's an.
I don't have it.
Yeah, because it's got the little ribs on it. The American.
Yeah, no, it's a Klappspaten. It's a 43 Klappspaten, which was very new to that point.
Let me look it up real quick. Let me see. I forgot. I just remember I remember the source said that he had a machine gun, which I knew wasn't true. But let me. I forget. I don't know if it said an actual date. It just said Winterline, Italy.
There's not a lot of snow for that to be a winter line. Just saying.
Well, winter in Italy is a little bit different than winter in Wisconsin, Minnesota. Just throwing that out there.
Few reference photos. I have this stuff saved.
I'm not sure if they made sheaths bag out for anti-tank rifles.
What are those bags though? Right next to them. You know what those are?
They're bags.
I don't know the exact. Yeah, right. I don't know the exact model or whatever. They look like grenade bag. No. Wait, no, they're grenade bags. It looks like from the First World War, but like I don't know.
Okay, so it says this is on the outskirts of San Pietro, which was the Battle of San Pietro was around that time.
Yep.
So I mean, it's between September and December of 43.
Yep. And so, okay, yeah. So this guy or whoever had that got the Klappspaten very early. Like that was so because again, like they reinforced the 15th Panzergrenadiers with new guys from Germany and whatever. Like so, they would have had the newest gear.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's really cool. And if you look closely, like his tunic, it looks like he's wearing an SS smock because of the dirt, like the way it's. But he's actually just wearing wool.
Horrendously filthy.
Yep.
Yeah. Let's see what's over here. Oh, it just looks like ammo boxes and shit. That looks like a mantle maybe right there.
It's a Zelt. That's a
Zelt.
Zelt.
Okay.
Yep, you can see that. Yeah, you can see the things.
The rings.
Yeah.
And this right here is clearly Italy out here. So.
Yeah, a little orchard. Yep.
Yeah. So cool photo. It's a rare one, so I think it's cool.
Nice. You got any other photos we can go over?
Sure. Let me look. Make sure I don't have you accidentally see my porn collection.
Okay. Wait, you have the same hot dog video Mike does.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh. This is interesting right here. Some of these are really like choppy photos, but some of these things. Share me screen.
Well, that's corn videos. He's not from the Midwest, Alexi. He doesn't have any corn videos.
So this right here is one of the German positions along the winter line, and this is usually how I see them. Is that they're not like these giant structures. They're like really small.
That's a hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like practical though because
they're using the natural environment to their advantage, but that's a hole.
There's sandbag. It looks like an ammo can right there.
Maybe.
It looks like a position until you have a shit bucket.
Oh yeah, that is an ammo
bucket.
can. That's an empty. It's an empty ammo can. Yep.
So that might have been
the new shit bucket.
Yeah. Here, this is an interesting one. I have two. There's just two photos of this taken right here. Let me see if I can find the other one. I don't know. There's one where it shows this guy actually shooting first. Let's see, where is that? I have it somewhere. I forgot what the name of this location was, but
Italy.
Well, yeah, but I sworn I had it somewhere.
That's actually a pretty cool picture. Like
that is a really cool picture, actually. That close to a Sherman with all those guys there, yeah.
Yeah, there's another photo. There's another photo from this collection. I can't find it right now though. But these guys are both. They crossed it out right here. But these guys are both 3rd Infantry Division. You can see it on his helmet through the net. And,
so that must be Anzio or later, because we established that the 3rd ID, or actually, yeah, it's Anzio and later, and even more so like southern France.
Yeah. Here, 1 second. Sorry.
So yeah, this is like very late 43 or early 44.
Okay. This guy right here on the right, he has got a Thompson without the stock on it. See that right there? That's interesting.
Yep.
And he's got like some kind of wool shirt on.
He's wearing the overcoat.
Yeah.
So it's got to be it's like late winter of 44.
He's got to be from the 45. South, because there ain't no snow there.
And the other guy's he's also got Thompson mag pouches on. The Thompson.
Yeah. I like that German guy's mess kit.
Oh, hanging off right there. Has all the paint is worn off it.
It's very shiny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep. It's.
Let me see. Trying to look at some other photos. This one's right here is a famous one. This is also Italy. These guys are also 3rd Infantry Division. And
let's
see.
That's not very like the Americans. How come those 2 Thompson guys aren't fighting from the hip out in the open?
Yeah.
I love the feinted attempt at the middle guy, his patch like covering it up, but you can still see that there's bars there.
Well, there's actually this one is a one that's been touched up, but where is it? I have a version of it that's because there's a version of this photo. I think I just got it. Come on, get the hell out of here. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah, here we go. So where it looks, someone circled his patch and wrote "out." You see that?
Oh, there we go.
Someone, whoever the censor was, they saw that. They said someone crossed this out, and then someone just never did it because this guy right here, you can tell his patch is gone.
You also understand that the guy that's like aiming the M1. This is very posed, which most war films or war pictures are.
Right.
He's got M1 carbine pouches and a 1911 pouch.
Yep.
So this guy's probably an officer. An officer or a higher NCO.
What's this right here? Hang on. Is that
Zoom in.
Here, I'll go to the other one.
Oh, yeah.
I can't tell what that is.
I don't know. It might
like
be
a bag. A bag of some kind? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's very. It looks like the pick that they would have. Like these guys might be engineers.
Yeah, it looks like the handle of the.
Oh, look at the smoke grenade! Look at the smoke grenade. He's got an M16 smoke grenade.
Right there.
Yeah,
that's cool.
And the bottom, even though like these are like close.
Mm-hmm.
This is okay for YouTube. This is 100% plastic. It's not real. The bottom, they didn't get it right, but like you could tell with the band around it and it's white. He's got an M16 smoke grenade on him. So yeah, he is an officer. For fuck's sake, an NCO or an officer. Like, look at his pouches. He's not. That's a very posed shot. They just did that.
Right.
You know.
This guy right here. You can tell he's got the M1 version of the Thompson.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
The backside doesn't have those ears, as they call them, I think.
Yeah, it's not the A1. It's the M1.
Yeah, it doesn't have the protection wings. So.
So that's pretty
Which is
cool.
accurate. Yep. So the M1, but like the guy up in front, yeah, he's clearly an officer. He's clearly an officer.
Yeah.
And he's just doing this shot for, I'm going to sell this to the guys back home because like they're not really under stress.
No, and
the guy's smoking a fucking cigarette.
He does have the really nice 1907 sling on his M1 though.
Well, most of them did.
No, they had 1923 slings, Mike. How dare you?
Jesus,
What?
guys.
I know, because I have both of them. The 1923 sling was the most common sling, actually, for World War II. So.
The only difference was the buckles were made out of steel.
No, the 1923 sling is a 1907 sling, but in canvas rather than leather.
No, you're wrong on this. Again, you don't know American shit. No,
I actually have both of them.
The Kerr model 19 fucking whatever it was used on the M1 or in World War I, the 1917 and the 1903, and in World War II it was kind of used, but they were caught up in the leather supply.
For the first 2 years, quite a lot, yeah.
So here's the other photo that I was from that series I was talking about, and they did the same thing here, where someone circled his patch and said "out," and then no one did it.
I know what division that guy's from. If I'm German, I'm gonna know that now.
This guy doesn't have a stock on his Thompson, you can tell.
I don't know if you can say, but that's an M1A1.
Yeah, you can see the little thing hanging down from the M1. That's where the Thompson.
Where the stock would put in, yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't have a stock on it.
Why the fuck would they not have a stock on it? Like that's
I don't know,
weird.
but from the same
weight, Mike, and it fits better.
From this right here, you can tell if you go back and forth between these ones.
But go back to the. Yeah, that's not the same guy.
No, it's that guy that's holding the Thompson right there.
Yes.
That's this guy right here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but both of them, he also doesn't have a stock on his Thompson.
Stock on his Thompson, yeah.
That's really interesting. Like that's really. And, okay, so zoom into the first guy. So I'm gonna make this sling argument with Devin. Yeah, on the Thompson, the Kerr no buckle is what it was called, the canvas one that was introduced in the First World War, was common on the Thompsons. In World War II, most of the infantry guys had the 1907 leather sling because they had caught up with leather production.
And the 1923s are rifle slings. They're too long.
It's not 1923 though, because it was made before 1923. That's what I'm saying. It's the Kerr no buckle sling was not 1923.
No, I'm talking the 1923 sling.
For what? The M1?
Yeah.
No.
It's a real thing. Google it.
Yes, I know, but I'm saying it came out earlier than that.
Yeah, but it didn't get it. Yeah, I'm just going off of what its designation is.
Send me a link.
I didn't name it, Mike. All right? Talk to the Americans about that bullshit.
Right, but I'm saying that thing came out in World War One.
Yeah.
It's way earlier than 23, and there was never, as far as I know, again, send me the link. I'll research it, but like, as far as I know, there was never like any designation like 1923 sling or anything like that. It was a rifle sling for 1903s and the 1917s in World War One. They used it in World War II, of course, for BARs, M1s, and then they adapted it for the Thompson to be. Maybe that's what you're thinking of. Maybe.
Sorry, Mike. All these photos we're looking at, by the way, are from Cisterna in Italy, which is not far from Anzio. So
it's post Anzio. Yep.
It's 1944.
Okay. Yep. That's what I thought. Yep. Just by what we learned with the decals on the helmets and all that shit. So yeah, but again in 44, I mean, the only thing that matters in 44 is Normandy, right? There wasn't any fighting going on in Italy or southern France or anywhere else. The Eastern Front, no, it was all done. It was just Normandy at that point.
That's what they like to say. Okay, I want to switch things. This is interesting though, because like you can tell these are both taken from the same time. Like that right there, it's the same tank and everything.
Yep.
It's pretty damn cool. But
out. God, I love that. Out.
What? Oh yeah. Someone circled it out, and it's kind of hard to see. I love that. Someone probably wrote that with a. Go ahead.
It's not hard to see. Like it's beautiful. I love whoever got this is like, that's fucking good.
Someone probably wrote that with a mercury pen, but let's see here. I got some other ones. This one right here is Anzio. This one right here is the
Yep. The elephant in the background. Yep.
Yeah, the elephant. This is the Hermann Goering division right here.
Yeah, those guys were
Air Force people.
Right, because you can see in the buckle, it's a Luftwaffe buckle. Like you can see the oval instead of the circle. And those guys were a fucking mean unit. That was nuts.
Yeah, but it's pretty cool. Well, like this, you rarely ever see photos of this thing, so it's pretty cool to see that.
Well, they only made like 100 of them.
Yeah, they did, and I like how this guy right here is looking at it, like damn.
Look at that steaming pile of dog shit.
Yeah.
Oh fuck.
Yep. I think this one right here now has been refurbished, and is it some museum or something?
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, but
that's the one that's in Bovington, right?
Well, also you understand the first guy is wearing he's got a U.S. M1910 entrenching tool in his belt, right?
Yeah, I can tell. You can see the handle right here.
Right, he's a machine gunner, and also the shape of the spade. He's also got the machine gunners, like he's got the little asbestos, which is the asbestos glove, or the mitt is like very worn, which is insane. And so he's got that's a 42, and then he's got a assistant gunner behind him, and then probably an ammo bearer. The third guy is probably the ammo bearer.
I like how those two guys in the back have underneath their regular tunics the paratrooper tunics, but just not buttoned.
This guy has the folding shovel right here.
Yeah. There you go. So that's
and he's got a pistol. He's got a pistol right here too.
Right. Yeah, he's probably an ammo bearer. So he's probably carrying a shitload of ammo on a pack, or who knows. But so the first guy, he's the actual gunner, and he's wearing an M42 helmet, and the second guy, it's hard to tell. He's got foliage in there, but that's a 42, the raw edges, and so these guys are like, yeah, he does. And so the Hermann Goering division wore a lot of, I know you know this, but like for the guys that are watching, they wore a lot of SS camouflage. They private purchased that from the manufacturers of the guys that were making camouflage uniforms for the SS. So they had a lot of SS camouflage. And to Devin, they were not wearing Fliegerblusen. They were actually just wearing Luftwaffe like blue, like service coats, like tunics underneath those. They were not wearing the
Why does that guy's coat like come down to his knees then, underneath his regular tunic?
This guy right here?
That's not this.
Yeah, or is that just his pants?
It's not. Here's the thing: is like, so you're thinking a jump smock? No, that's not a jump smock. Smock is.
What I'm saying.
No, a jump smock would be cinched to your legs.
Because the second guy also has it too, the long one that comes down to like.
Right, they're probably wearing something
like. Didn't have them cinched or buttoned up. That's what they look like.
Right. No, they did not wear jump smocks. Let's just put it that way. I don't know exactly what that is. It's probably, I don't know, like a trench coat of some sort. Not a wool one.
Yeah.
But
like
it's not a jump smock. They didn't wear those. This division did not wear them because they were a field division, so they would be wearing standard. I mean, again, this guy's got a fucking U.S. shovel in his belt, like, so maybe it's a U.S. like a raincoat or something to like.
Yeah.
Because it was very rainy. It was very rainy during that. Maybe it's a U.S. raincoat, but it's not I forgot the German word for it, but like the jump smock. Yeah. It's not that. Nope.
Okay.
No, because they wore regular Luftwaffe uniforms. Sorry, Michael. I'll be done.
You're good.
They wore regular Luftwaffe uniforms, the blue ones, underneath a shitload of like overcoats and camouflage and shit like that. They were elite. They were very elite, and they were very good at what they did. They're basically SS, but they're military. They're actually military. SS are paramilitary, and I know you know that.
They're part of the political party rather than being part of the military. But these guys are actually part of the military.
Yeah, these guys are in the Air Force. They're in the Luftwaffe, and these guys. And why Hermann Goering's name is attached to that is because Hermann Goering was a really good Air Force officer, and they were like, "Yeah, well, we're elite. We're a field division, so we're just going to take his name and blah blah." Like to make a long story short, but good observation, dude. This is awesome. Like I love doing this with photos.
Me too. Me too. It's awesome. This is going back to more stuff that's like late 43. So this is actually in Italy, around the area where our film takes place. These are GIs like resting. It looks like. I think
the guy. Yep.
He's got a K98. It looks like.
No. That's a fucking. Oh, that is a K98. Yep. You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
See the band right there. It's that late war one.
I that the bolt takedown thing in the stock. So underneath his wrist there.
Yep, and then the butt plate. So that's a mid-war K98. That was probably fresh off the line when he got that and was fucking around with it. And he's got a pipe, obviously.
Got his piping, yeah.
He looks pretty happy about it.
Yeah, he's just kind of fucking around. Oh, this guy's a PFC, and he's got it drawn on his helmet very brightly, which is something they didn't want to do.
Right here?
Yeah, exactly. So they didn't want to do that shit. That's why they stopped putting the officer rank. But also, that was in late 43 where they stopped putting rank on the front of their helmets.
They stopped doing that, yeah.
So this is really. So he's a PFC. He's not wearing chevrons on his fucking. Hold on. What is he wearing as far as gear? He's wearing like a vest. Oh no, he's not. So zoom out a little bit again, and so yeah, this guy's a PFC. All right, he's not wearing PFC ranks, so he must have been recently promoted, which is why he probably painted that on there.
Yeah,
because he was like, okay, I'm a team leader or some shit at this point. And he's also
wait a second.
Zoom in on, yeah, on the knife. I was just gonna say, zoom in on the knife.
Yeah. Well, what about his boots? Aren't those late war?
Those are 43 double buckles.
Okay.
And so, when did you say this is from?
This is like late 43 stuff.
So he was one of the first guys to get those fucking boots.
Must have been, yeah. This is supposed to be Italy, like probably December or something around San Pietro.
Yeah. So like those here, let me see really quick. Let me see if I can find M43 buckle boots.
I've seen guys at Anzio wearing those before.
They were more well liked because they had less break-in period and they were actually more comfortable and easy because you had to wear leggings with them.
Yeah, you didn't have to wear two things with the M43 double buckles.
Those things fucking suck. Those leggings. I thought they looked cool when I would do drawings of them, but after wearing them, I fucking hate them.
For sure. And the cool thing about the double buckles is they actually took a lot of the rough out like service shoes and they just stitched that cuff right to the top of the boot. So,
so they were introduced. They were introduced in November of 43.
So this guy would have been one of the first then, like you said.
Yep.
Right.
He probably just got there then. He probably hasn't been through Africa or anything.
No, and his knife too. Like his knife, go down a little bit. Yeah, that's a private purchase knife. Like that's totally a private purchase knife.
Yeah,
and it's also not like banged up to fuck, so you know that guy's not been there that long. So
yeah, interesting.
Right, he's a PFC and he wants everybody to know it. He just doesn't want to sew his shit onto his sleeves.
What? Are these
and then like
boots?
This guy.
Are these paratrooper boots?
No, those are what?
They're full on like lace up.
Yeah, but like they look like double buckles, but like the hooks on them, like what the fuck?
He has them like wrapped around his ankles.
That might be like his own pair of boots that he just bought. With like fuck it.
Well, no, they didn't let you do that. They didn't let you really do that.
They didn't let you really do that. Yes.
Well, no, like they seriously didn't. Like you had to wear the army's like. But here's the thing: is like they look like double buckles because they got the flap on there, but they're laced up all the way. What the?
It's weird.
Yeah, well, he's got hooks all the way at the top of the boot, so those either have to be paratrooper boots or they're not military issue.
Well, I know a lot of the guys. Some of them would bark. What the fuck is up with his soles? The guy in the background. Here? Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, go zoom out a little bit, because like. But those like ripple soles. It's like
those look like what were on the Fallschirmjäger boots. They
are those mud boots? Oh,
they could be. Yeah, they could be the rubber over boots. Yeah.
But he looks like he's wearing leggings on the other boot. On the other, like, who knows?
It's a weird mishmash.
This is really weird. Like, this is fucking fascinating.
This one right here. So this is one that Luciano sent. Two of them actually that Luciano sent me near San Pietro, like right when our movie takes place. And these are both the same people.
Yep.
This one really threw me for a loop because these guys right here are wearing like M41s, but they got like weird ass French helmets on.
Those are free French. They're using 1917 rifles too.
Right. Okay, interesting.
They're free French.
Yeah.
Okay, so weird. This guy right here has a mountain anorak.
Yes.
Gebirgsjäger. Yeah.
Yep. And then go to the next picture. It's a lot more clear.
Yeah.
So this one is like, you can see these guys. The guy's got a 03A3 right there.
The guy on the left?
And the guy on the left. And he's wearing a 1926 helmet.
Yeah. Or is that a 1917? No, it's not a 1917.
It's a 26, dude. It's a 26 Adrian. I guarantee.
No, I mean like the rifle.
Oh. That's an 03. The bolt.
That's an 03, yeah. I was gonna say the barrel is protruding too much.
Yeah, it's an 03A3. And there's that German guy, short guy, like they're carrying the guys, and then but they're wearing U.S. uniforms, which they did, and a lot of them. And the guy on the direct right here next to the POW that's not wearing a helmet, he's got a full fucking beard and a tie.
That's weird, yeah.
So he's an officer, but he's also French.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean? Because they wore, because the guy behind him to the left a little bit above the first POW has got an Adrian helmet on, right?
Right. He does,
and so they're walking through, and then you got some U.S. guys. It looks like on the right.
Yeah. So these guys are clearly. They're
standing like U.S. guys. They're standing like the French Europeans don't stand like that. Like just whatever, fuck it. It's just it's a. I mean, it's a general statement, but like, you know what I mean? It's But also, hey, go back to the Germans really quick. Okay. So you see the guy on the right has belt hooks. The guy on the left does not.
Oh, these right here. Yeah, you're right.
Yep. You're right. So and then the guy behind him doesn't appear. Well, he's wearing a coat. Go back to the other picture really quick.
Okay. This guy right here is this guy right here.
Yep. I said I'm just looking for belt hooks. Like we're going through and like looking for stupid details.
The belt hooks.
Yeah, those are the belt hooks.
Guy, it's the same guy on the front that had him before. He's like a Gefreiter, and he's the same guy in the front right on the picture to the right.
Yeah, they must have switched positions.
Right. Well, you have to when you're fucking carrying a cat, dude. Carrying people on a stretcher or on a litter is fucking really strenuous, and so they probably put him down and switched out because it's and that short guy is an Obergefreiter. That's fun.
How can you tell?
No belt.
Oh, this right here.
Yeah, his rank, and but he has no like infantry assault badge on. He's got no awards, no belt hooks. So I don't know. Yeah, what his start? He's also got like a 5 o'clock or a 10 o'clock shadow, basically.
Yeah, he looks like he's been there for a while.
Pretty grizzled.
Go to the picture on the right. Yeah, he's been there. Yeah, he's.
This guy looks more.
Around the block a while. Yeah.
This guy looks more. What is this on this guy's right here?
Well, the only thing that would be there would be like a Jäger or sniper.
I was gonna say that looks like the weird oak leaf thing. Yeah.
It's a light infantry or a sniper patch, a Scharfschütze patch.
Interesting.
And that's all that would be is those two things that I'm aware of. In the comments, if you guys are here, like I know you guys, that are here are like loyal, but like it's surprising that more people don't like this shit because I love doing this with photos. Like it's fucking.
No,
amazing.
I do too.
It's not an Edelweiss. They didn't put the Edelweiss patch on there. If it's an Edelweiss, he's a mount. Oh.
It's a Gebirgsjäger.
Yeah, Gebirgs. It's Gebirgsjäger or Gebirgsjäger.
Gebirgsjäger.
So those are mountain troops. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So that is just okay. You're right. So these guys, that's why the guy's wearing a fucking mountain
Anorak.
troops fucking anorak. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are mountain troops.
Yeah. You can't really see their boots very well, but I was gonna say because I know some of okay, because I know some of the German mountain boots have like some weird like teeth on them or something.
Yeah, they're pretty intense.
They got the real aggressive hobnails. Yeah.
Well, it's like spikes. It's like
Triconi, as they're
crampons.
called. Yes.
Crampons.
No,
Yep. It's
crampons are things that you put onto your boots.
I know they are, but like
real aggressive hobnails.
Right. But like it's basically crampons without wearing a fucking extra. Yeah.
Tampons.
So okay, that would explain why the guy's wearing a Gebirgsjäger anorak.
Yeah, these are mountain troops.
But also, okay, really quick, let's just talk about this. Yeah, like Devin's got. You can see this, Michael, really quick.
Okay. Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Yeah.
Yep. So also, Michael, these guys are POWs, right? And this is like if Baron's going to watch this later, or we can talk about this with Baron. We were having the discussion of like, would you remove the helmet if they were a POW, blah blah blah, and it's very subjective. The helmets are still on.
Yeah,
these guys
are still wearing them. Yeah, obviously.
Well, they're still a war on. I mean,
well, right. So here's the thing: is like we also discovered that there was a Geneva Convention like kind of clause that said while you're in a combat zone, like directly in combat, PPE like a gas mask and a helmet are not required to be removed.
Yeah,
you know, they can be searched, but like, so actually, like, yeah, we'll have to talk about that with Baron and like show him these pictures. And I've seen a lot of pictures, dude, a lot of pictures that I saw my grandpa took before my grandma threw them out because they weren't relevant.
Oh man,
it sucks. That's the part of the story I was going to finish on, but like that sucked. And but I saw them, and there's a lot of POWs that were still wearing their helmets. Mm-hmm. They were stripped like these guys of their gear and everything, and they're obviously their weapons, but like they were wearing their helmets just until they got back and whatever. So very, very, very interesting and cool. And Hank Hill, thanks for pointing that out, because I said two that I know of. I forgot completely about
it makes sense because the
Ziega.
Yeah.
Right, and like we couldn't figure that. We're like, these guys are infantry guys, because like the little guy on the left in the second picture on the right doesn't have he doesn't appear to have the Edelweiss, and maybe they're from different units, who knows? But like it's the guy definitely has an Edelweiss on him, and that's why cool. The guys. Oh wait, zoom into the guy's hat up on the third guy from the left.
This guy right here.
Zoom in. Yep.
Okay. He's in the other photo.
He's got one button. It's one button. It's a Gebirgsjäger hat. Yeah, these guys are mountain troops.
He's also in this one, right? Or that might be a different one. He's got two. It looks
that's
like.
Two buttons.
No, that's an M43. But like, no, that's a different guy. Yeah. So.
Yeah, the mountain trooper hats, they were much thicker, and since the buttons were harder to do because the thicker wool, they only got one big one.
A wood button though. It was a wood button, and that's one button right there. So yeah, these guys are mountain troops. That's fucking interesting.
Hell yeah.
That's really
those hats are real cool. If you ever get the chance to get one, they'll keep you warm.
Yeah, they're made from the Austro-Hungarian or Austrian, mountain hats.
The 1909, yeah.
And then what else, Michael? What do you got on this picture?
On this photo, or do you want to look at other ones?
Well, I want to look at other ones, of course. Like,
okay.
I'm good to do this like for a while. Like I fucking love doing this.
Well, I'm going to bed soon because it's 8:30 and we've been doing this for 3 hours.
Right, but Michael, if you want to sit on here, but like Devin, I like your input too. Like but yeah, you can go to sleep. Obviously,
I got to work tomorrow. So
I got to go soon anyway. But let's do. How about we just do one more?
Let's do one more. Okay.
All right, let's do one more.
And then like we'll do others next time. I got more prisoners. I got. I'm trying to see here. Okay, this one right here has a lot of stuff.
Pick a cool one. All right.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Look at all the gas mask canisters. Look at them all.
Oh yeah, Jesus Christ.
Look at them all.
That's a what is that called right there?
That's a map case. That's an officer's map case.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. What is this thing right here?
Move the picture around a bit. I have no fucking clue what that is.
Yeah.
I can't tell. There's a short gas mask canister right in front of that though, which is a very early, like a 1930. It was like a 36 pattern when it was a lot shorter for the canister, and then they elongated it in 38. I actually have one of those, or had one of those. I don't know if I still have it. So that's cool. That's a short one. You get the messaging.
I see no MP40 pouches or anything. These guys are also 3rd Infantry Division.
Yep. Broken TV screen. Yep.
Well, goddamn American sensors failing us again.
And Mike, this is also around Cisterna. This might be that same guy. Look, he's got that same grenade, that same fucking smoke grenade.
Oh, the officer?
Yeah.
Well, I can't. Oh, he does. He has the same pouches. That is the same guy.
That's the same fucking guy.
He's an officer. He's a fucking officer.
That's crazy.
Why did he have all those fucking pouches in that rifle?
Yeah, he's that guy, literally. So check this out. Yeah, he's that guy.
Wow.
Yep.
Someone tell that man he's got the wrong pouches. Tell that man he's an idiot.
Look at this. Even the folds in his jacket are the same.
Same.
Yep. And so this is the same fucking guy. And he obviously had a good camera crew and was like, I want to show when I get back home that I actually did something. You know?
With the wrong gun for your equipment.
Right. And
that's
Jesus
crazy.
Christ.
So let's keep going.
It's the same guy.
I wonder if that guy's still alive so we could be like, why'd you pose all that?
We caught you, motherfucker.
Look at the buttons where they're at. Like, look at the buttons and exactly where his M41 is like open.
Yep. Oh my God. We just exposed.
It's the same fucking guy.
God, if only we could find that guy's name. I want to tell him he's a fraud.
Hey, we don't know what he did. So, I mean, yeah, he got
posed, obviously, with the wrong gun, like a lot.
A lot of people pose for photos, but so these guys right here, they've been searched, or they're in the process of being searched. Look like some of their
no belt hooks. No belt hooks.
No belt hooks. Yeah.
No belt hooks.
Let's see here. This guy looks kind of older.
Yeah, he's probably in his late 20s, early 30s.
Yeah, this guy right here is clearly younger.
Oh, is that a net or is that bread bags?
Where?
On the guy with the camouflage in his helmet.
This guy right here?
It's not a net, yeah.
Okay. And then, let's see here. This, I don't know what this is. That's interesting.
Some kind of lanyard.
Yeah, coming out of that guy's pocket.
Could be a camera, or a camera lanyard or a binoc. No, it's too thick.
Right.
Oh, that guy's got jack boots though. He's cool.
Yeah, he's got jack boots. Everyone else has ankle boots.
That guy's cool as shit. Look at him.
Maybe this guy's a propaganda guy. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, the American, he's got
member of the squad.
The American looks like he's got those buckle boots on, doesn't he?
He's got double. Oh my God! And so when was this again?
This is 44 in Cisterna, Italy.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yep.
So let's see here, and standard equipment.
He's got the 43 folding e-tool too on his belt.
Is that what that is?
Yep, it's a folding one. It's not the 1910. So he's got that newly issued, and the canteen. The German's wearing a 42 helmet. Go back to the German.
Yeah,
he's wearing.
That's a 42.
It looks like a tropical tunic.
This guy right here?
Yeah, zoom out a little bit and it looks like a tropical fucking, unless it's like a heavily fucking worn. Like zoom in a little bit on the German guy on the far right. So no shoulder boards.
Well, I mean, just looking at how wrinkled the sleeve is and the cuff is compared to that other guy on the left, I think you're right, Mike, because the tropical tunics were thinner fabric than the wool ones.
Yeah. Well, and his pockets are, but here's the thing. His pockets are angled a lot more than the M40 would be, and his eagle is, yeah.
I have another. I know we said we were going to do only another one, but I have another photo of this same scene that's taken from a different angle. If we want to look at that,
do it. Let's see it.
Cool. So this is the same scene. You can tell this guy. You could see him in the previous one.
Okay, that's the guy that we're talking about with the.
And this is the guy that was searching.
Zoom in on tall guy right there in the foreground, right there.
Right here? Okay.
Yep, zoom in. He's Army, and he's wearing a tropical fucking tunic.
This guy right here looks like he's wearing tropical as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. Huh. This is the guy that has the camouflage in his helmet.
Oh, yeah.
In
it's an M42. Yep.
This guy right here is
that's
this
not the same guy. The tall guy's. Oh, yeah. So the guy with the decal in the next picture is this guy in the center to the left of what you're just pointing at. And so, okay, so the guy on the right is wearing an M42 helmet with. Oh, it's a wire. It's a wire. Okay, it's wire camouflage.
Got wrapped around. Yeah, to cut grass.
And then, but they're Army, and they're wearing. The guy saying search is wearing a tropical tunic too.
This guy right here.
Yeah. You just go by the way it falls, like because wool is it's very dense.
Wool like stands on its own almost, like
yeah.
Huh. Yeah, that's weird. And these guys right here are not in the other picture.
Right, and so they're wearing the guy on the left's wearing an M40 wool tunic.
The guy's crying.
You can tell because he's got the pocket pleats in it still on the chest pocket.
Yep. The guy there is wearing. I can't tell, but
that's a real cut down something or other. It almost looks like a tanker jacket.
He's wearing
double breasted almost.
Yeah, he's wearing breech. Yeah, that's an anti-tank gunner or assault gunner. Like that's a Panzer guy.
Yeah.
He's got the breeches on too. Like they're not trousers.
Yeah, he's Captain Wide Pants. Look at him.
Mm-hmm. What's interesting is that the guy here that's being searched, the guy that looks way older, he just looks like whatever. I don't care. This guy right here looks a bit younger. He looks like he's crying.
Yeah, he's like, oh shit, are they gonna kill us? It's like, no, you're going to a prison camp in Central.
Well, I mean, it is Italy. Americans are known for killing people in Italy, so.
Well.
Yeah, Biscari. But that was actually Sicily. But yeah,
they're wearing a lot of M42 helmets. So like a lot of these guys have M42s.
Yeah, this guy also has a wire wrapped around his helmet. This guy has a decal on his helmet. Right here.
It's Army. Yeah, it's a hair decal. A hair decal. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know the Germans are gonna be like, yeah, it's here. But yeah, so that guy's wearing he's wearing wool pants. That guy's wearing wool pants. So they're wearing tropical tunics with wool pants, which is very, very usual common. Because
your pants would wear out a lot quicker than your tunic would with all the kneeling and crawling and stuff.
Yeah, and you see the angled pockets on the tropical. They're slightly angled. And but this eagle is very interesting on the guy on the right because it's not actually sewn onto the pocket.
It kind of
like
is.
Most of it. Well, no, it's not. It's not. It's like barely on the top. But like a lot of them were sewn onto the pockets, like the examples that are original. This guy's is just sewn on there, barely touching the top crease of the pocket. So that's interesting. That's very interesting. And he's got zoom into his shoulder boards really quick. I'm sorry.
Okay, that's good.
Those are wool. No. Hold on. I don't know what those are. Those are
the same
cotton.
fabric as the tunic. So
yeah, those are cotton. So okay, so that's something we settled. Like where Luciano said that only wool shoulder boards are worn in that region in late 43. Not so, because this is 44.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah,
this guy right here doesn't look like
a lot of tropical tunics.
Yeah, this guy here doesn't look like he has shoulder boards at all.
Shoulder boards on that, yeah.
Yeah, this guy right here
he doesn't.
Is this guy, yeah, and
Well, it's just more stuff to get caught on.
He doesn't have shoulder boards. No, well, that wasn't an option though. That's like wearing. It's not. It's like not wearing.
Well, it clearly was, because where's the fuck is that guy's shoulder boards?
He might have thrown them off. He might have been an officer. Who knows? Like,
he was pretty young to be an officer, but
well,
who knows? Who knows?
Maybe like these fucking shoulder boards get caught on shit. F it.
Yeah, but he doesn't even have the buttons on, so it's like, well, that's weird.
They can't tell me to attach it if I don't have the buttons.
What's that?
It looks like something this guy had and he dropped it. It's interesting. Like he took it off him or something. I don't know.
So that map case might have been from that guy that doesn't have the shoulder boards.
Right. This photo might have been taken first. This photo might have been taken first, and then this one might have been taken second. No, actually, that's not true, because this guy's tunic's buttoned here, but it is open here.
So they could search him. Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, I'll bet you that map case was from an NCO or like a decent, like an Uchifel label or higher. The only reason we don't have Brander wearing a map case in this one is because he's on patrol.
Right.
But usually NCOs would have a map case. They'd carry one MP40 pouch with 3 magazines and then a map case on the other side. But it was also like, that's the rank where it's kind of like they could or they couldn't, like it's subjective.
And if you're going into a risky situation like a patrol, you would not bring a map case because
right.
The chances of you getting captured or killed and that information falling into the wrong hands would be higher.
Yeah, a lot of traps even in 44. Like, look at that. I mean, it's
yeah.
It's
this is around
insane.
NZO.
Like,
yeah.
Well, I mean, it's Italy. It's hot as fuck. Can you blame them?
Yeah.
Right, the tops, and like you want your pants to be durable, and wool is more durable, and you're wearing the top with the wool bottoms. So
and the cool old M42. You could accidentally drop that thing in the rubble, and then the edge on that thing turns into a fucking razor blade, so you can cut yourself to shit.
Right.
So,
but like, no, seriously, like, zoom in on the helmets one more time, and then we can wrap this up.
Okay, which one?
Go from left to right.
Okay.
Like,
this guy here looks like he has a cover on of some kind.
Maybe. So that's an M42. Looks like an M40, M42, M42. Yes, they've got M42s on.
They all do.
Oh no, that's a 40. That's a 40. No, that's a 35. That's an M35.
Okay.
Yep, that's an M35. So that's an older helmet.
Okay, and then this guy.
That's a 42. Yep.
We'll go to the other photo. So this guy right here is not in the other one.
42.
That's a 42. Yep.
Yeah. And then same thing all around. Very interesting.
Yeah. A lot of 42s. Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, it's good to know. Like, looking into detail. We're going to be using mostly M40s, but
that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it'll make sense too. Like, it's also unit, like, when they were there, how long they were there, all that shit.
Yep.
But yeah, that's really interesting.
This guy right here, this guy looks like he's holding up like a handkerchief, like that's his way of surrendering. That's interesting.
Is that a handkerchief?
Or something. He looks like he's holding some piece of like cloth in his hand.
Or it's like it's a piece of pork. Like, maybe that might have been the officer that surrendered to them.
Maybe. Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know.
So,
wait, does that guy have the pleated chest pockets?
Look, this guy right here?
Yeah, the guy holding the thing.
No, that's a tropical tunic. That's a tropical tunic.
He has them down here.
Pockets.
But he's got the pleats on it.
Aren't there trops with pleats on them?
Yeah. The trops had pleats.
This is all like torn up and shit right in here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, like you see the guy next to him though, there's no pleats on the pocket.
Yeah, that'd be the M40. Yeah, that'd be the M42.
I don't know.
So yeah, these guys are pretty new to the front, mixed with guys that have been there a while.
Been there a while, yeah.
It's kind of our unit in the movie.
Right, exactly. And so yeah, we're pretty accurate to that. And this is 44, so
yeah,
even more so.
Well, should we call it then?
All right, we should call it. We've been doing it for 3 hours, but I love the picture review. Like, this is fun.
Oh yeah, no, that's fucking great. I can do that anytime.
For sure.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right, gentlemen, and everybody that's watching, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next Shite episode.
Yep.